Did I do the right thing? See, I got to do the right thing here. I got to make sure that we can't have a smooth intro for a live show. That would just be ridiculous, right?
We're consistent.
It's totally consistent. Will it continue to be a thing? I'm going to try for that not to happen, but we'll see. Let's start the show. No, I said let's start the show, guys. This, that, and play.
Bullmark の怪獣シリーズなのだ。スピードコントローラーでぐんぐん走るミニカードライブゲームなのだ。
お子様の夢を育てる。
遊びに帰らない。に特徴はキャラコンである。そして押すと回る。ラジオコントロールで動く。そう。はい、じゃあここに住所を締め、そして母音に。キャラコンゴジラバンダイより発売中。キャラコン怪獣も続々登場。
Today on Collect All Monsters, grab your passport and an extra suitcase because you're coming with us to Japan's premier Garage Kit Expo, Wonder Festival. Ikimashou!
Hey, and hello, and welcome to Collect All Monsters, this crazy new YouTube thing that we're doing dedicated to the Japanese monster toys we love. My name is Kyle, and I used to host the Kaiju Cast back in the day as in last year. We ended that, and now I've started this new project, Collect All Monsters, and I'm here with my super awesome Avengers-style co-hosts that I've assembled for this amazing venture, and we're going to kick things off with passing the mic to David, who's going to tell us not just about himself, but also if he's gotten anything recently or if he's done anything recently that he wants to share. What's up, Dave?
What's up, Kyle? How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning into our third show. It's pretty exciting to be here. So a couple things that I was up to. Number one, I've had a couple of visitors to my home, and I took the opportunity to put them in front of the video camera and do sort of mini interviews that I like to call get to know your fellow collector interviews. So there's one out there by a really awesome guy, Steve Coach Fury from Brooklyn, and that was posted about a week and a half ago. And I just recently did one, which we will show, I'm assuming sometime next week or the week after, with a fellow Seattleite and awesome collector, Corey Cromer. So I hope to do a lot more of those, and I'm hoping that you guys will also follow suit and do some of those when you have fellow kaiju collectors in your neck of the woods. And trying to think what else. Oh yeah, so also I did pick up something kind of cool.
Nice.
Something that I've been after for quite some time.
Oh,
it's
yes.
the Marmot Godzilla Tower. And the Marmot Godzilla Tower came in 4 colors. A really super rare exclusive black color, a bluish green color, a yellowish color, and then this red one. And I just was pretty stoked to see it on Mandarake, and I jumped at the chance to grab it and add it to my collection. So trying to think what else. Oh, another thing. I know a lot of us were pretty sad that Famous Monsters of Filmland is no longer with us. It started in 1958, so it really had a nice long run, different sort of incarnations, but from 1958 to 2020. And I think, Kyle, you have some images there. I was actually really, really lucky to have an article from 2011 that featured myself, my collection, and where I got to talk about my collecting journey, which was kind of a dream come true, because my first issue of Monster World was actually in cahoots with Famous Monsters. And it's funny that the one that I did first was also a Monster World Japanese issue with that beautiful Bob Eggleton cover. And just I want to thank August Rigoni for hooking me up with that gig, and I'll be eternally grateful for that honor. And I just wanted to mention that real quick. So there's the article right there, and yeah. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to tell you guys. Those of you who follow me on Instagram and Facebook and the X Plus group, I decided to sort of revisit a lot of the X Plus Godzilla releases and do sort of portraits of each one. And I think Kyle's looking for that right now. I think I jumped the gun a little bit. Sorry about that, Kyle.
It's all good. It's right here, David.
Yep. So yeah, I took each one, sort of reshot photos of them with different lighting, and just to show how awesome these figures are. And I'm really waiting with bated breath for the Sakai 84 to be released so I can add it to this lineup. So yeah, that's pretty much been what I've been doing, keeping me busy. How about you, Leslie Chambers?
Well, we talk about Wonderfest, and of course, Leslie P. Chambers, on behalf of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews, on behalf of Summit Kaiju. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to X Plus. Oh my God. But I'm just excited. I'm and I'm speechless. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to put into words. I guess I'll talk about what I've gotten recently, just a few seconds before I pass it on to Christine. First and foremost, as far as reviews, I just put up the Defo Real Technicolor version set of Godzilla Raids again, 55 Godzilla Angers. Up next for review is this guy, the Defo Real MonsterVerse King Ghidorah. Been kind of a controversial piece as of late, controversial piece. Has not been getting the best feedback, you know what I'm saying? It's a mixed bag, you know what I mean? But yes, this guy is coming up real soon. Also, I mentioned I think in the last episode, I'm doing these picture books, the Godzilla Store Total Special Effects books. Yes, I'm getting these reviews out now, and the first reviews is going to be dedicated to Gabara and to Hedra. I'm doing like them in blocks. I'm doing like 2 books a block, a video. Mind you, they're not going to be super long videos, just like maybe like 10 minutes, just try to sell you on these books. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a picture, at least 3 pictures from each book, and I'm going to give you my thoughts in a very funny way. I'm at least try to anyway, of images from these books to sell you on these books. Like, for example, look at this book. This is the Gabara book, if you can see it close a little bit. And as you can see, there's Gabara there being tended to, or at least being catered to by one of the technicians. This obviously is between scenes. And what's funny to me is, like, look towards the right, and that's Nakajima, Haruo Nakajima, in the Godzilla suit. And
he's just sizing up Gabara from outside. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's funny to me because it's like Nakajima's looking at him like, really? I'm going to end the 60s with you? Like, I fought Kong. I fought King Ghidorah. I fought Rodan. I went to outer space, but my journey this decade ends with you. So look forward to those videos coming real soon. And one last thing I want to talk about. Just recently on Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews, we have surpassed over 2,000 subscribers. So I want to thank every single person here, because I know I collaborated with all of y'all in some way, shape, or form. And I couldn't have done it without your help. A couple of people in the chat room, like Phil the Kaiju King, and a couple other people, and your support. So thank you so much for Let's Chambers Kaiju Reviews, surpassing 2,000 subscribers. And I know we're going to do the exact same thing here. 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 for Collect All Monsters. So just want to say thank y'all for doing that for me and for the channel. I really do appreciate it. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Biolante's favorite homegirl, Christine Chapin. How you doing, Christine?
You know she's the best. Actually, I've been up to 2 months lately, besides stalking toys online from the past Wonderfest we just had. But I have been trying to update my Instagram and Facebook with some new photos of some of my figures that I've gotten recently. I brought 2 with me that I just recently acquired. This one, which I think you might have seen me post in the group, the 1954 toy graph. This was a 2010 Wonderfest exclusive. I had actually never seen this one before, and it randomly popped up online, and I had to have it because, I mean, it's blue. And I was so stoked to get this one. I've never seen one before. And then I also recently picked up this cute little Hazawa Gumi 89. Thanks, Mike Johnson, for the hookup with this one. I think this came out last year at Wonderfest, and he finally arrived for me. So super beautiful. And I know last month I did a poll on my Instagram about which figure that you guys would like to see me review next. And the winner was the M1 Nakajima, so I'm working on that, and that should be out probably later this month. So please look forward to that. It's fun to be able to work on something you guys picked for me, so I'm really excited to share that with you. And what's up with you, John? John, oh, this way.
Thanks, Christine. It's great to be back. I'm John of mykaiju.com, and it's been a good last few weeks. I have a few things going on mykaiju.com. First, after waiting a year and a half, a Twitter follower, or I follow him, he follows me, Tajimanzu, last week posted my TV Asahi Godzilla collection interview from a year ago. So it's about 7 minutes, and so he put it in parts for me, and I put it together, stitched it together, and it's up on my website if you're just interested in seeing me dubbed in Japanese, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
I am totally interested in that.
So the other thing I'm starting, it's not advertised or anything on the website, but you can visit it. I'm calling it Kaiju School or Godzilla School, and right now there's 14 books that I've translated. One book is over 100 pages, but some are short, some are 40 pages, some are, but you can read them in English. I apologize for any errors, but I try to get them fix them when I find them. But you read them new every month. And the other thing, what I got this about a couple weeks ago, and I really love it. It's made by, I believe you pronounce his name, Nogur Chin. He does some really cool Godzilla size charts that have become very popular on social media. But he also designed a figure called Zilla that he designed, I think a couple years ago. He did some art and it's in a packaging. This is a great figure, and it comes with videotape, a little copy of Dragon Ball Z manga, and it's just, I think it's a perfect representation of at least a Godzilla fan like me that grew up with videotapes, and many of us did, and with manga. Yeah. So it's a cool little representation. I highly recommend it. I think he will make more, but he's a creative director, I believe, in Taiwan. Was a great toy. A few other things that I got in the mail, and I would highly recommend it. It's those we have not seen from Shodai Godzilla. And what's interesting about this is the format. It doesn't open in portrait, but in landscape. And there's 4 photos on each page. Highly recommend that. And I love books. I love books. So like Leslie, they've been coming in. The Toho SFX Movies Authentic Visual Book Series. Highly recommend these. And there's so much more that can be talked about. But with that said, it's back to you, Kyle.
Oh, you know what? I didn't actually tell you guys what I got in the mail recently. My box days were kind of awesome. I have this adorable little Yamomark Kanegon figure. He's a glowy. Love a glowy.
Gotta love a glowy.
So Yamomark, if anybody is not familiar with this brand, because they don't do a lot of kaiju stuff, Yamomark actually makes those sushi kaiju figures. Like David, you have you have a couple of them. I have a couple of them.
I do.
And basically, so I got this guy because I really wanted to see what their offerings were like. And David, you actually, I think, sparked the interest, or not the interest, but you sealed the deal. I was like, I need to get this guy after I saw your Pigmon figure, which is right there.
I got this recently. I'm not sure if I showed you guys this last show, but this is a little, I mean, as Kyle said, the scale is great. It fits on your shelf, pretty nicely. And my introduction to Yamomark, as Kyle said, were the little sushi creatures. And I didn't even know that they made like Ultra Monsters as well. And I've got my eyes on a Glow Ragon figure that I've been sort of waiting to pull the trigger on, which may happen any day now.
Nice. I also, speaking of Ultra Monsters, let me segue to this little beautiful guy here. I finally have the X Plus 25 centimeter Jamila for my Kaiju lineup, which will go right over there as I knock my microphone around. And then last but not least, John, I think you'll appreciate this very much. I picked up this book, which I don't remember the title of, but it is filled with amazing illustrations and information. It's super old.
Nice.
Let me show you the actual image that made me go, oh, I have to have that. I have to have that book. And it is coming up in just a second.
So Kyle,
two of my favorite monsters.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
beautiful. Wow.
I've got
Kyle
to get one. That's so
he got
cool.
that book. Whoops, we're talking over each other. Sorry.
What was that, David?
I was going to say, when you told me that you got that book, you said, you know what, Dave? It smells old.
And I'm smells vintage.
It's that vintage smell that we all love so much. That's pretty cool. Sorry, John, I didn't mean to step over you there.
And I was telling my friend Scott about this book, because while I was in Japan last, I was sort of telling him that I was looking for it. And when I was trying to give him information about it, I'm like, well, there's no ISBN number for this book, and there's no copyright information on this book. So I guess here's the title, and I hope we can find it for you. But yeah, it's I love getting books too, man. I'm a huge fan of books.
Carl, can I add one thing?
Yeah, absolutely, John. Go for it, man.
I really want to mention this because I won't get to do it later on. One other book that I picked up, we have some wonderful access to our heroes in the Godzilla fandom, and Masami Yamamoto is so to Godzilla and Ultraman, and he does prototypes for soft final figures. But this is one book out of his collection of books that he contributed to, and so I was so proud to be able to find this on Mandarake last week.
Ooh.
Fantastic! Oh man, that's awesome. Well, this is actually a perfect time for us to check in with our live viewing audience. Shout out to a couple of names here. I see Mike Keller, Lolo is in there, Phil the Kaiju King, over 9,000 is also in there. Luminous, welcome everybody, and then Tim, Albert, there's a whole bunch of people, and of course I cannot say everybody's names. That's Leslie's job later on. Well, he gives the full rundown of every single person who watches live. Just kidding. I was gonna see there are a couple of people here. Our buddy Jumbo Mills, aka Jamie Davies, is here as well.
Yay!
Hey, awesome.
And Kaiju Battle, Michael's here. And okay, so wait, there was a question. Tim asked me where you could get this book, and basically I bought that book off of a Yahoo Japan auction, and I did that because I was looking for the book, and so I searched for some keywords. I would search in Japanese for number one, the title of the book, which I could try and post later. in the show notes for this episode. But number 2, actually, these were all also used in the Asahi TV Sonorama series, I believe. John backing me up on that, I see, which is good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then
Looks like it's straight out of their collection.
It's a vintage book, so it's not like you're just going to find somebody who's selling a whole bunch of them on Amazon. But totally, it's the thrill of the hunt, right, my fellow collectors?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It is. And I can add something for those of you who are interested in purchasing books, vintage or otherwise. Mandarake stores are a little bit overpriced when it comes to soft vinyl figures. But actually, if you go to the book section, you can get really good deals on some vintage books, new and vintage, as I should say.
Absolutely.
And you'd be surprised at how reasonable and inexpensive they are. So when you're in Japan, of course, you'll see them all right in front of you, and they're a little hard to do because books are heavy in a suitcase. But definitely check Mandarake for any book you might want. Just go to the book section and just scroll through. And like there was the book, Kyle, that was from the Tsuburaya Museum.
Right.
I got it for $20. You know,
you told me about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be so surprised because I guess they're not as sought after as the figures are, or maybe just no one's realized that you can get books for inexpensive. But now you can, and now I've told you. So check it out.
There you go.
Buy some books.
Could I ask something about these books right here? Just to let you know, these books are available at the Godzilla store. They're on eBay, but I highly suggest don't do that because on eBay they are horribly overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that a lot of people in the chat room are probably on Facebook. So if I were you, I would probably send some feelers out on Facebook to find out if there's somebody who can help you, or at least they can probably get the books for you at their prices versus, you going the eBay route. Because these books, believe it or not, 30 pages of pristine photos that you will probably, the same quality that David M. Dopko does when he does the G-Fest picture books, the same books that the same books that John Ruffin does. It's the same type of pristine quality. And they got an assortment of kaiju: Godzilla 1964, Mechagodzilla 1975, Gigan, Hedra, the Gargantuas, and they're like $11 at the store. So I highly suggest you go after these books because these books are awesome. And once again, I don't go the eBay route because on eBay, people are charging $30 a pop for them and shipping on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Where you can get them for $11. And they feature photos, some photos you may have seen, also some never before seen photos. And also they have like tidbit information on a particular kaiju, like the origin, where they came from, what was the production process, stuff like that. I cannot highly recommend these books enough, especially we all know that this is the best book, the 64 guy. But I'm biased. So but yes, go after these books. You would definitely not be disappointed. There you go.
Do you guys think that they'll ever start selling them again at the Kinokuniya bookstores at some point?
I hope so.
Nice.
I
wouldn't
find them a couple weeks ago.
I mean, basically, that was sort of like just cross promotion for Godzilla, and as we've seen in the past few months, like Toho is actually pushing Godzilla way more. Not just past few months, the past few years, really.
Yeah,
I think it's very possible that we could see another Godzilla store invasion. I
thought it was really, really curious because when the Godzilla stores stopped, being promoted in the store, in the Kinokuniya stores, they removed all of the merchandise that wasn't sold. They didn't just leave it there; they just took it away.
Oh.
So I mean, I went back to see if there was anything left. It's like, well, everything's gone, and I know it didn't all sell. So that was sort of curious to me.
Yeah, I wonder if they put it all into like a big warehouse and kept it for like another launch, or if they just
maybe.
Maybe so. Anyway.
By the way, when I was in the Kinokuniya in New York City, and across from New York in Edgewater, they did have T-shirts left, and that was about it. And one last thing for the books, these wonderful Toho SFX books, Jim from Icon Celebrity, he gets them for me, and I can't get them. He's been
Jim Ciaranella.
Jim Ciaranella, yeah.
He's a great guy. Yep.
Although I would also suggest that you should just save your money, buy a flight to Japan, go to the Godzilla store with like a huge wad of like 1,000 yen bills and just be like, and then you just reverse all those books into your hand like that, and then you just carry home a giant stack of those books.
Oh, yes, indeed. Edgewater, New Jersey, John. That brings back memories.
I know. We need a whole episode on memories.
Yes, we do.
Of our favorite toy shops.
Johan Plaza, baby.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and I have a story. I met a former worker from my favorite shop growing up, Rocket Ships and Accessories, when I went to a show last week where a few of our favorite friends in the G fandom were there with their tables. But it was just full of memories last week. It was ZuluCon, I believe it is. But we need to talk about that.
Yes.
Definitely.
Oh man, okay, so we should probably get on to the main meat of what we're here to do, and that's talk about Wonder Festival, right?
Woo!
Yes.
Okay, so to do this, this was my segment. I'm going to give a brief history of Wonder Festival, and that, of course, starts with the ridiculous action of me sharing a video with you guys. So, and I have a prop here too. Dateline Showa 59. Actually, 1984, the very same month that Godzilla returns to the big screen in The Return of Godzilla. Japanese anime and tokusatsu model kit enthusiasts initiate the very first Wonder Festival in Osaka, Japan. In the early days, this festival, I'm going to put this down now.
I like it.
In the early days, this festival was almost exclusively made up of amateur garage kit makers whose skills became so honed that their kits rivaled products produced by companies like Aoshima, Adi, Bandai, and Kyoto. And in fact, it was that latter company, Kyoto, that recognized the passion behind this event and lent a huge hand in creating the next evolution of Wonder Festival. Because due to the show's popularity, Kyoto worked with the Japanese government to create the Day of Copyrights, or Tojitsu Hankin, which allows kit makers like Yuji Sakai, like Ryu Oyama, Kenichi Tanaka, and a cajillion more to obtain the copyright for a licensed character for one day at one video. That's one venue, excuse me. And according to an article in the Japan Times, apparently the copyrights are issued through the event. And someday I would love to speak to somebody that knows about this stuff, like Mark Nagata. But they cannot take reservations during the event and ship them later. They cannot sell models that haven't been approved for the copyrights. And then the copyright also ends when the event ends. That is why exclusives from Wonder Festival are so stupid exclusive. Now, the show is held twice a year, once for the winter and once for the summer. And the winter show for 2020 was held just last weekend. And I know my fellow co-hosts were here with me online, salivating as we saw all the photos rolling in and hitting social media. And now Wonder Festival is actually a lot more than just Kaiju stuff. But because we focus on monsters, that's really all we're going to share, the tokusatsu stuff here, this episode. It offers up ridiculously cool exclusive figure releases, which we'll talk about later, in addition to cool model kits, which we'll talk about really soon. And then, of course, we'll show off some of the stuff that we have in our collection. And if I'm just going to go ahead and get started, the next thing we have is a special report sent to us by our good friend and colleague, Jay Davies. Oh my God, dude, I just said your name wrong. How embarrassing. So embarrassing for me and you at the same time, Jamie. But yeah, so we have a special report from our Brit on the scene. And I'll just, turn the volume down so we can sort of talk over this, because basically this is the craziness of Wonder Festival.
Unbelievable.
Now, John, I believe you said that it's in like different halls and stuff. So this looks like just one of those halls, right?
It's like 8 halls, and they're humongous. Wow. I mean, it's overwhelming.
So like 8 of those, John? 8 of that scale?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
All connected.
Could you even see them all in one day?
No, when I had a chance to go, I didn't see it all.
I think they have a lot of this stuff compartmentalized, though, right? So, like I said, it's not just all about kaiju stuff. So a lot of the kaiju stuff, I would assume, tokusatsu stuff, hopefully is in the same-ish area. Is that right, John?
It is.
Okay.
When I attended, X Plus wasn't too far from Kyoto.
Okay, right on.
So, John, do they also do like cosplay and artwork in addition to the model kits and the soft vinyl toys?
Yes, the cosplay is unbelievable. Before you enter, you'll see it. You'll see the cosplay. It's just unbelievable. I mean, that's a show all by itself. Yeah. And when I got there, the day was pretty much far along, and so I had to quickly hurry over to the X Plus booth and the Kyoto booth, but it was overwhelming, so crowded.
Yeah, Jamie said that it was so busy that like by the time he got out of one line, everything had been sold out. Like everything exclusive sold out in like the first hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
I don't know what the totals were for this year, but when I checked when I went in 2016, there were over 5,000 attendees.
Wow.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's an incredible number back then. I think it's grown for sure.
Yeah.
How absolutely amazing would it be if we had something like this stateside?
Oh God.
I know.
That would be amazing.
I know.
I mean, aside from G-Fest.
I mean, yeah,
right.
but
yes,
this magnitude of stuff,
There's 5 Points Festival, but that's not really like they don't really have a lot of Godzilla stuff there.
We'd have to assemble a team and just scatter, and so we can like go to a different section to see if we can score something.
Right?
Exactly.
Divide and conquer.
Actually, you know what? It's probably a good thing that we don't have this here, because I know if we would go here, half of us would not even make it a G-Fest. So maybe it's a good thing that we don't have it over here.
That's true. You're right.
True.
Be careful what you wish for.
David, you asked about the cosplay. You asked about the cosplay at Wonder Festival, and that's actually one of the things that I read about this is that because of this fans, driven show in the 80s, it wasn't just model kits, it was also cosplay and amateur artists too. And so there's a ton of cosplay. In fact, I've seen some really cool, I don't have a photo of it right here, but basically I've seen some like a cadre of ladies that dress up in tokusatsu.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And they look amazing every time.
Yeah, I remember seeing someone's awesome photograph. I think it may have been Ed Holland's photograph, where they had a group of Keelok women. And it looked spot on. I mean, these costumes were like right out of the film, and I was like, oh my God, if I could see that would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But like we said at the beginning, this is all about the garage kit. That's where this really, really gained speed, and that's what the focus of the show was, at least for a really long time. And so I think it's a time for me to turn it over to my good friend David, who is such a model kit builder that he has also built a couple of kits for me too.
Yeah. I've been a fan of garage kits for quite some time. I think that was my first passion right after getting into the Bandais in the early 90s. And I remember going to Forbidden Planet in the village and going to their magazine section and lusting after these images in Hobby Japan magazine, not knowing where they came from, what they were all about, but just looking at these amazing model kits that were just like really crazy. So with the help of some pretty awesome people who have actually been to Wonderfest, Ed Holland, Ed Godjichewski, and Stan Hyde, I've curated some past and some present model kits for you guys to check out. And that's actually the Resin Chef Team Ukeke flying Hedra, which is just like it's flew right out of the movie. And this is also made by Resin Chef. It's the Gigon model, of course. And I think there's another image of Gigon. Yeah, there's the full model there. And this is by a company called Tease Facto. This is a resin original image Godzilla, which looks pretty badass, if you ask me.
Do you know who designed the actual, not the who sculpted it, but did the actual design?
I don't. I really don't. I tried to find that out. I don't. Do you guys, any of you guys know?
His name is Yasushi Nirasawa, and he did this design actually for Final Wars. This was his concept for the Final Wars Godzilla.
Wow.
Well, damn. Wouldn't that have been?
That would have been sick.
Yeah, Nirasawa was crazy, totally nuts. In fact, Super Festival uses his artwork for their flyers every show.
So, Kyle, I believe this is the same sculptor or designer who did that Nightmare Altier G1 Godzilla original image. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. I'll have to check up on that. Okay, the Rodan, the 56 Rodan, actually I own that in my collection. It's by Monster Maker 28, along with the 64. Actually, that's the 64A, not the 64B, but they just kind of substituted it in there. That Rodan kit is big and amazing, and it's one of my favorite pieces in my entire collection.
Beautiful.
Oh, look at Godzilla. Oh my God.
This is, of course, I'm sure Christine will love this one, the Rose Biolante. And I think this one was by M Arts. Of course, we know what this is. This is the Sakai Burning Godzilla. This is the resin model kit that the, I don't think this is the exact one that the X Plus used for their figure, but I mean, it's lit up with the LEDs. It's just pretty spectacular.
Gorgeous.
Oh yeah, this is the Sanda and Gaira kit, and I think this one is I can't remember which one this is now. Yamakawa, I think this is.
Wow.
Oh, they look awesome. Gaira is so misunderstood. He is so misunderstood.
Yeah, he looks real misunderstood there.
This is the Godzilla 1955 by KOC.
Wow.
And that's just a little chibi Godzilla, and it's by a company called VSM Project, which I know none of us have really heard of, but it's such a sweet little figure.
It's cute.
I love this one.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
This was on my radar because Kyle was actually after this kit, and really couldn't figure out what the maker was of this. But it's 8 centimeters, so it's a pretty small little resin kit. And of course, this depicts the scene at the very end where Godzilla comes up for his last gasp of breath before he gets destroyed by the Oxygen Destroyer. I know it's sad, everybody. I know.
You know, David, there's actually a series of kits. I'm not saying that this is from that series, but there are a series of kits that look like they fit into a bowl that would be like the equivalent of a ramen bowl that had like Godzilla exploding out of the water. And
oh my God,
that's why I was interested in this kit, is because it looked like I should have it like in a little ramen bowl or a little, you know, some sort of display, like silver or tableware, you know.
You can put that in the fake ramen that we got you as a gift in Japan.
That's true.
The little, you know, replica ramen bowl. He could live in there.
He could.
We need a wine. What are they? Cork toppers.
True.
Actually, when I first saw that piece, I thought it was a cast Iwakura at first because it's in that scale, maybe just a little tiny bit bigger. But I mean, I could see them doing something like that too, because they do the sort of obscure little like nuanced figures like that.
Totally.
Yeah. Actually, Kaiju Live said it in the chat. It kind of reminds of that little small mini piece that came with the Rick Gigantic 54. You know,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this one, I'm not sure who did this one because I don't remember that photograph too much. But clearly, it looks like the Godzilla looks like a Monster Maker 28 to me, just because of that pose. I'm sure Steve Saragioli would know that because he's the 64 resin kit aficionado. I'm 62 resin kit aficionado, and again, it's side by side with a 55 Godzilla.
But those are the bigger kits. Like those are like the 19 inches tall kits, right?
Yes, actually, those are 50 centimeter.
Wow.
So that's
Whoa.
pretty darn
Holy
big.
cow.
Leslie, that's the size of our 64 M1 kits. So
That's cool. I got a question for all my co-hosts, if I can.
Yeah.
55. If X Plus were to make a gigantic 55, would y'all go after it?
Yep.
Or where does the 55 land on your favorite Godzilla designs, if it is?
Speaking for myself, I probably have to pass because I'm so limited for space, and 55 is not super high on my list of favorites. How about you, Kyle?
I'm not a huge fan of the 55, but in terms of where he sits on my love for Godzilla suits, I mean, I sort of lump all the Showa stuff together, right? So I would say he's just above the 67.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of low.
Yeah, not super high up there. How about you, Christine?
I don't know. It's not really a favorite suit of mine. What I think Showa, my two go-tos are the 54 and the 64. But I don't think I would buy a gigantic of them. I don't even have the 30 centimeter. Wait, is there 30 centimeter out?
Yeah, there's a 30 centimeter.
Yep, this is 30.
Yeah, X Plus
I do think he's pretty
much.
My nickname for him is Snaggletooth because I love the hand puppet that they use for him. His teeth are all like this. It's so funny. So I call him Snaggletooth, but I don't know.
He's like a vampire.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, I don't foresee gigantic for this guy.
It's also for me important to really like the movie as well as liking the actual design. So the US version of Godzilla Raids Again is pretty much unwatchable for me unless you're doing it with a sort of Mystery Science Theater style viewing party. Yeah, it's just not that great. The Japanese version is much better, and it's much more, story oriented in this and that. So anyway, shall we move on?
We shall.
So this is everyone's favorite flying kaiju, the giant condor, and this is by Resident Team Ukeke, and that's pretty cool.
Ooh.
This is another Resident release made into a diorama, and this is, of course, is the 61 Mothra, which I might point out is one of the best cityscape destruction scenes in any Toho Japanese science fiction film, in my opinion. Those miniatures are superior, and even this model diorama is pretty awesome too. But they really went crazy with these miniatures. And just a little FYI, that's Nakajima inside of that prop of the sort of Mothra puppet in that scene in the film too.
Wow.
This is actually also by Resin Chef. It's the beautiful 56 Rodan. It looks pretty similar to the X Plus one, but it's a little bit more fierce looking, I think. It's not quite as goofy.
It looks like a 64 to me.
I'm sorry. I meant to say 64. My mistake. You're right. 64. And yeah, sorry. That was just a slip of the tongue.
Oh, behave.
John and James will know that this movie is always on at G-Fest when we come back to the room.
Always.
That's so funny.
And this is another Resin Chef piece. Just Goliath versus Daigoro, right?
Daigoro versus Goliath, yeah.
Daigoro versus Goliath. I should know it by heart because, like I said, every year, every time we walk into the damn room, turn on the TV, this is what's on. So there you have it.
The positive thing I'll say about that movie is that at least it has Cap from Ultraman in that movie.
It does. Yes, it does. That's the only saving grace in my opinion.
Oh my god!
Let's move on.
Another Resin Chef selection. This is of course the saucer from Mysterians.
Beautiful.
And this is another piece that I have in my collection. Thank you to Mr. Robert Schrock for helping me get this. This is made by Ultra Ya Hobby. sculpted by Mr. Hashimoto. And this is another big kit. This is like a 40-centimeter kit. And this is actually meant to depict the clay model of the original concept of Godzilla. And the lady in the hand is actually from the still that they used this image for, this design for. So again, I am very stoked to have this piece in my collection. Super, super limited. And I was definitely able to score one. Thanks again, Robert.
Spectacular.
Beautiful.
This one with the plane is actually Yamakawa. And I've always liked this one because he does have the plane in his hand. And the lighting on this is just so amazing. Just makes it look like it stepped out of the movie.
It's gorgeous.
It is.
Oh, this is Tanaka Studio. This is the 84 sort of.
This is supposed to look like the Noriyoshi Orai 84 poster.
Yes. And if you've seen the Sakai kit, the Sakai kit actually has a cityscape that is just exactly in the poster. So yeah, this is an amazing piece by Tanaka Studio. Oh, these are the little chibi figures, and this is by Image MDA. And as you can see, the inspiration artwork back there.
By Shinichi Ishikawa, yeah.
Yep, Ishikawa artwork. And yep, this is the Monster Maker 28 Titanosaurus, which looks like it. You just couldn't resist, could you?
I couldn't.
This is a beautiful kit, and a friend of ours, Steve Heron, actually just built this up recently. And if you follow him on Instagram or Facebook, you'll be able to see his piece. Here we go.
Oh my God. I love
this
it.
is the Tease Facto image of Shin Godzilla. I know John Ruffin is drooling over this one. This was an image from that big giant book that you have, John, right? I can't remember.
Art of Shin Godzilla.
The Art of Shin Godzilla. And I've always loved this. And I wish that he looked a little bit more like this than he did in his actual appearance, but it's just super dark and scary, and just a beautiful kit. Tease Facto.
Yeah, and Tease Facto also they have a theme running through a lot of their kits where Godzilla is in this pose, whereas his hands are sort of back a little bit and he's looking down. Because you have one of their GMK kits, right, David?
I do. The Tease Facto GMK kit is very similar to this pose. He's sort of like hunching over and sort of looking down with his hands in that same position. Indeed.
Get back to where we were here.
So these are selections from this is selections from the Albatross table. And actually, it's funny, the Rodan kind of does look like an albatross, as a matter of fact.
Rodan was actually that Rodan was sculpted by Taichi Yamada, the guy who worked on the Heisei Rodan for Toho.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
And the Gargantuans are ballroom dancing over there in the corner.
Yeah, you know it.
Yes, they are. They're dancing the mamushka. The reason I made that up is I mentioned that is because there was an old magazine called Kit Builders and Glue Sniffers, and it had a picture of an old model kit where the Gargantuas were in that pose, and it said the Gargantuas dance the mamushka. So
nice.
maybe one or two people will catch that reference. But anyway, this is of course the beautiful Sakai G2K maquette design. This is the inspiration for the X Plus release.
Team Orange.
Team Purple.
Oh.
This is actually Ultra Ya Hobby as well, which is an amazing hatching Rodan. And I would love to have this piece. It's just really built and painted beautifully, just like it stepped out of the movie.
Somebody get this and paint it up for my old co-host Rachel, who loves Baby Kaiju.
Super cute. I don't think there hasn't been any Baby Rodan figures out, has there?
No, there hasn't. So X Plus, if you're listening, maybe if you release a Rodan in the future, this could be the Rick Extra instead of a light up gimmick.
I'm calling it right now, gigantic Rodan with Rick Baby.
I would love that. That would be awesome. But I'd have to sell half of my collection to fit it on the shelf.
Yeah.
So basically, you want a kite, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I already have one, but it's too fragile to use. That's the Shogun Warriors.
Yeah, but you don't see this image of Rodan very often.
Yeah, it's awesome. Ooh,
this is just another angle of the 54 with plane from Yamakawa. Just another beautiful kit. Just really, really great.
Hey,
I just tried to throw that in there. That's the man himself,
Awesome.
Mr. G. Akamoto. Another kit that I have in my collection from a Wonderfest release. This is actually the T's Facto 2002 Godzilla, Kiru Goji, and it's actually kind of similar to the one that I think Leslie might show coming up that has been announced for a future X Plus release. It's very, very similar. Of course, the detail is a little more crisp, and the pose is leaning a little more forward. But again, a beautiful, beautiful release by T's Facto. And actually, Jamie Davis helped me acquire this kit a few years back. And there is the resin version of last year's X Plus figure of the year, the beautiful Sakai closed mouth Kiru Goji. And you can just see the crisp detail of the resin. It's just a beautiful, beautiful kit. And there's Mr. Stan Hyde, and the gentleman in the pink shirt is the man, the myth, the legend, Yuji Sakai.
Okay.
the man in the black flowery shirt is actually
Sage-san?
Sagai-san, yeah,
Sagai-san.
who unfortunately passed away recently. But it's really it's a pleasant surprise to see him in these photos.
Yeah, I wanted to add that in there because these are the men behind a lot of these beautiful kits that we've seen. And of course, Stan, you know, many thanks for allowing us to share your awesome photos. This is just a little, this looks like the resin prototype kit for the first version of the X Plus Type A 25 centimeter Ultraman. I'm not really sure what that little figure is down there, but it looks like
Ultraman against the Science Patrol, dude.
Yeah, I'd love to have that. Yep. Yeah, it was hard to find exact information on a lot of these Ultra kits because they're just obscure. This is another Yamakawa kit. This is actually the 64 Rodan versus Godzilla Type B.
Bully. Bully. Leave him alone.
I love this.
64B. And it's a pose that you don't see very often. It's a really awesome kit.
Stalker. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Actually, this is this year's release.
Wow.
This is the Sakai kit that was released this year, and I can't really tell the scale. It looks like that's a 40 centimeter.
Actually, I think it's a 30 centimeter, and it's pictured on the bottom at the 1992. But actually, it is from Godzilla vs. Mothra. However, this is the scene where Godzilla somehow he's able to survive swimming in lava. That's another story for another time. But he rises up out of Mount Fuji and he makes his way down. He's descending from Mount Fuji. That's actually the 91 suit. The 92 suit didn't show up until when we see him trash some electrical towers. But in that particular scene where Godzilla's coming down from Mount Fuji, it's the 91 suit. So basically, if X Plus gets their hands on this, it's like the third version of the 91 suit, which will get no arguments from me because I love the 91 suit.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, this is again was showcased at the last 2020 Wonderfest, and there's just another close-up picture. That is a Jamila. That's a Monster Maker 28 Jamila, just like Kyle's that he just purchased, except for this one looks like he's being squirted by water, because we all know that you got to keep water away from Jamila, or else it's the end of the line, buddy.
This is Jamila's solo album, where he's singing his heart out.
I hate water.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is one that I almost pulled the trigger on. This is that another sort of early concept maquette version of Godzilla where he's very, very cat-like. And this is, yeah, you can close zoom in on that one. Again, Kyle, it's like that T's Facto favorite pose where he's sort of like hunched over slightly and the hands are sort of, at his sides towards the stomach. And it's just a really interesting, really groovy kit. And it looks like it looks like a cross between the maquette that we see and also the Knot storyboard figure, because it's that sort of pointy, cat-like vibe to him. And again, this is made by T's Facto. Okay, Jamie couldn't figure out what company did this, but it actually looks like a retooled Billiken Ultraman and Antlar fighting in a scene in the desert.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome.
Beautiful.
Pretty awesome. Of course, this is a closed mouth version of the Sakai G2K kit, which I kind of like better than the one I have. I have the open mouth version, but although in the background, it looks like a different image there. I don't think that corresponds with that picture, but
no, that image corresponds with the Final Wars piece. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, these are actually from a company called Kitora Zoke, and Jamie sent a couple images of the things they offered at their table. This is a Gomez diorama, of course, as he emerges from the mine. This is interesting. Oh, sorry. This is interesting. I found out these are actually heavily retooled Billiken kits where they're posable. So that's the, believe it or not, Billiken Kong and the Billiken 62 kit, which is a pretty interesting thing to see. And again, at Wonderfest, you may see things that aren't going to be available in mass quantities or available at all. They're just showcased. So just kind of something I thought you guys would find interesting.
Terrific.
I guess it's being released again. This is the T's Facto, as Kyle said, concept for the Final Wars Godzilla, and I guess they either retooled it or re-released it for this particular Wonderfest. Yeah,
it's interesting. I would love to know if anybody out there watching actually does know. This to me looks way more detailed and way more of a new sculpt than the previous kit that I've seen. However, it could just be retooled from that previous kit. I would actually like to know because it's pretty awesome looking.
It's pretty similar. I looked at them close up. I think they just changed the pose slightly because both of them are super detailed. But yeah, it's I would have loved to have seen this in Final Wars. I mean, bottom line,
gorgeous,
no doubt. I bet you guys can't guess what company did this kit. That would be T's Facto, because now we know that they have a sort of favorite pose for these Godzilla kits. And again, that's the Shin Godzilla T's Facto kit. And just another image of the diorama, including the Manda of image MDA little chibi storyline monsters.
Ooh.
Yeah, these are kind of fun. This is a company called Arid, obviously, and got the little Pigmon, not Garamon. That's Pigmon because he's got the balloon, and a really interesting Wu with some very cool fur texture that I really, and it looks like he has light up eyes. If I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely has light up eyes. That's like, I think that would be the thing that would make me purchase that kit if I saw it in person, is because that's one of Wu's like sort of features, is he's got those crazy glowing eyes. Otherwise he looks like a big white cookie monster almost.
Let me ask you this, Kyle, real quick. Is Wu a male or a female?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. David, you're the Ultra Monster expert here.
I always thought Wu was a male, and then I sort of kind of figured out on my own that maybe it's the spirit of his mother who was labeled a Yukinko, like a forest, like a snow spirit who brings bad omens to villages. And when she died, left her, the snow girl, an orphan, became the guardian of her, and sort of manifested herself as Wu. So I don't know. Maybe someone out there will help out on that, or maybe I'm just sort of reading too much into stuff. But it's just fun to think about.
It's good background.
Oh, awesome!
I know Kyle's gonna love those. Alien Summit, little chibi figures. Also, it looks like it's Gyango throwing a tantrum. Oh yeah, these are super cute. These are actually these are also made by Image MDA, and it's of course Little Godzilla and 93 Godzilla, 94 Godzilla.
Good catch.
Yes. I mean, all those Heisei ones start to sort of melt together after the 89. Whatever. This is just sort of a lineup, and you can see some of the Billikens retools. It looks like they also did 75 retool in there too.
Oh, I think that's the end of the line. Do you want me to go back to the 2020 stuff, Dave?
Yeah, we can just zip through it real fast because I think I've been droning on too long, and I can't say this is an awesome kit any more times. I don't think because.
Wow.
So 2020 appearances at this show last weekend.
Yeah, this is by a company called Nendo Alien, which I've never heard of, but it's a pretty badass kit if you ask me. It's a very dynamic pose. That's a Canagon, which I don't know who did that one.
I believe I could probably find out later and maybe put it in the show notes, but I think this guy is in one of the groups that I belong to, and he is not Japanese, and he's a
Chinese sculptor.
Yeah, he made this and brought it to
amazing.
That's true because Robin Kwok, who Heroes Club, posted it in his page, and it's by a Chinese sculptor.
Nice.
Just a beautiful Ultraman figure. I don't know the sculptor either because these are really hard to find. This is a Tanaka Studio Godzilla bust, and it looks like an original image. It sort of looks like many Godzillas rolled into one.
Yeah, he's basically been sculpting in digitally recently, and so this is one of his newer sculpts like that. And like he's been posting them on Twitter, and then like days after he posts this 3D render, he's got like little pieces to show on Twitter of like kits that he's actually started to make and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, real quick. This is the 40 centimeter beautiful KOC 64 Godzilla kit with 2 heads. And in my opinion, you can't really tell from this particular image. In my opinion, this is going to be the quintessential version of the 64 Godzilla. I mean, Leslie Chambers, I'm surprised you're not all over this one. It just look that the proportions are spot on. The hands are the right size. The feet are the right size. It just looks like it's going to blow everything out of the water when it's built and painted. So this wasn't necessarily a Wonderfest piece, but it's being released in April, but they showcased it at Wonderfest. And the cool thing about it is the heads are connected by magnets. So what you can do is if you want, you can switch the heads without causing too much trouble. And the head that you're not using on the figure can actually, they give you a little stand for it. So you can display the head that you're not on the figure right next to it. So I think one of my biggest pieces that I'm looking forward to in this upcoming year. I didn't sound too excited or anything about that, did I?
No, you're good, man.
No,
you seem to temper it very well.
Yeah. I'm just sweating all over now. Yeah, this is the one that they showed before, that I showed before of the little tape on. Oh yeah, this is the Resin Chef again. Comes through with the Yog monster from space, Space Amoeba, Ganime, Gizora, Kamebas, Gizora, and Ganime. Yeah, that was easy to say.
Can I point out the adorable little bat that comes with this as well?
Oh, that's cute.
Yep, the little bat that saves the Earth ultimately, and his brothers that save the Earth. Another Resin Chef. That I believe is the ship from Gorath, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wait, sorry. The SPIP. Let me see if I can pull this out of my brain. I think it's from Battle in Outer Space
or Gorath.
I think it's Battle in Outer Space.
Battle in Outer Space. Okay. It could be possible that the ship in Gorath looks the same because they've been recycle, but This is a beautiful, interesting Naranga sculpt, of course, from the Ultraman series. I don't know the artist, but it
was on display at the Tsuburaya booth, actually.
It looks like one of those Kaiju remix figures, like a larger prototype of that.
Super cool.
This is another release from Tanaka Studio. This is the G2K suit, which is really nice. And of course, I won't talk too much about this one, but this is an X Plus release that is a Wonderfest exclusive that Leslie might talk about. And I know John Ruffin has a few things to say about this kit too, and that's about as far as I'm going to go for the moment. This is just a beautiful Gamera. Gamera 2 looks like it's a Yuji Sakai sculpt that has been reissued in a larger scale. I'm not really sure too much about the information of that. Do you guys know anything?
I think that was everything I even maybe potentially knew about it.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out a lot of these what a lot of these releases are. But
I tell you what, dude, if you had a translator there at Wonder Festival, you could network the hell out of that entire day.
Totally. All right, let's see what we got here. What's next?
Next up,
another resin chef. That's actually Robert Dwyer from G.
It sure is. Robert.
How could I not? No, actually, that is a Mysterian alien. Again, resin chef release. And the original image Godzilla, which could have been in Final Wars, and that's the new style. So,
wow.
Yeah, it looks like the mouth is open more. Actually, the face looks a lot like a G2K. I'm sorry, yeah, like a G2K face.
It's
mean looking.
It's really cool, and the dorsal plates are just so unique, and the little front front of his chest is pretty neat too, and those claws are pretty formidable.
I'll be afraid to pick it up. I may sever an artery just picking it up.
Seriously, right? Seriously.
Yeah, don't drop it while you're trying to place it on the shelf.
Get impaled.
Just some cute little chibi ultra Q figures. There's a Namigon and a Pagila hatchling.
Oh, here you go, Christine.
This is what
Oh my god. Oh, gorgeous.
This is actually a resin Biolante poster kit made by Tengetsu Craft, put out by Dream Planet. And it's just like, I'll let you talk about it, Christine. It's just,
it's beautiful. I mean, oh my gosh, like this is one I wish that I could do. I wish I could do resin kits because, oh my god, because like you don't see that. Like that's the only time you actually see that Rose Biolante is on the Noroi poster art, and I always love this image of her. She just looks so fierce, and she's got those like tentacles coming out of the front. Oh my god, I would absolutely love to have this.
Super.
Hopefully, yeah. I hope we can get maybe a resin somehow, or not a resin, a vinyl somehow. That because it's just so unique.
Yeah.
Dear X Plus, Christine would like you to release this particular figure.
It's just so cool.
With their new line.
Yeah, I just love his poster version of her. It's beautiful.
Just a great innovative idea for a model kit. Just looks very similar to the X Plus gigantic Bolton, but it's a resin model kit. Don't know who sculpted that one. This is the Oxygen Destroyer replica kit, and it was originally released by A1 Model in 2010, and it was at the Jinkobu table. And this information comes from Sean Linkenback, and you can either buy it as a kit or you can buy it. You can buy it and have someone build it up for you for an additional price. So it's pretty much to scale, and it is identical to the prop that we actually saw in the Godzilla 60th anniversary show. So, yep, I'm sure it's not cheap.
Well, that's not the one that because M1 brought one of those to
G5. That may be the M1, the one that M1 has as well, but I couldn't tell you for sure. But just imagine owning that piece.
Probably.
This is actually the flyer that Sakai put out for the Wonderfest exclusive figures. Just thought it'd be kind of cool to show that. An interesting Barugon from the Gamera series, a little diorama where he's destroying that bridge, trying not to step in the water. Another monster who hates water. What's up with that? This is the, as I mentioned before, the retooled Billiken Kong, and there's 62 Godzilla kind of peeking out of the side over there too. This is, again, by Tease Facto, a very interesting, upright, positioned Gigon from Final Wars. And Kyle, this really does look like the suit that we saw in the show, doesn't it?
It does. This is actually kind of stylized too, because his pose is like supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be right when all that sort of mummified stone comes off of him in the movie.
Oh, right. Well, yep, that's true. And just Tease Facto is really, knocking their figures out of the park this time around, I think.
Oh, yeah.
There's just another view.
Wow.
He's got his tail between his legs like Alien.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that. Different.
Indeed.
They don't look right.
Yeah, this beautiful bust of the different Godzilla heads, Showa Godzilla heads. It's also from Tengetsu Craft, and they did a few others in the past, but this one is super special, and I especially love the little, you can see it in the very bottom. It's the scene where Godzilla raises his head over the hill on Odo Island, and it looks just like that photograph that they show.
That's super cool.
Yep. Great piece. I hear it's very expensive and very heavy.
No, it does not surprise me. One bust celebrating the first 10 years of Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
See that 64 in there, Leslie? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it looks great.
Another 62 from a little stylized sort of squat 62 from Tanaka Studio. Have no idea what the cute little Gamakujira is from, but he's pretty funny. He'd be kind of fun to play with in the bathtub, I think. But, yeah, this is another Tanaka Studio. Beautiful.
That looks great. That looks great.
Sandra, are you watching? GMK. Dynamic pose GMK. Miss Chambers. Calling Miss Chambers. Oh, and there's another view of the Biolante poster resin kit. And there's Wu again.
Woo!
Hey, Wu.
Awesome.
That is a resin shaft Mega Neuron, I believe, from the 56 Rodan. And then there's just the flyer for the releases for 2020 Tanaka Studio. Ooh. And some creepy Kimurjin. The first one is from Ultra Q. The one in the very front there with his arms to his side is from the episode with Mephiles where he appears briefly in the cityscape. And then the last one is from the very last episode of Ultraman with Zeton. And yep, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
And I think I talked way too much for that segment, but
David, there's just so much to cover.
There is. So basically you got a flavor of just a sampling of the absolutely amazing kits that Wonderfest showcases every time. And as Kyle said, that in essence is the roots of the Wonderfest show, the awesome garage kits. So I am now going to pass it over to my friend over here, who is going to talk about X Plus figures, which are basically, if you think about it, highly detailed, built and painted vinyl model kits. So for those people who don't want to build kits. So take it away, my pal.
Yeah. And for people who have zero talent, me, building these kits, that's where X Plus comes into play. And X Plus showed up and showed out last weekend. I'm sure everybody in the X Plus Facebook group knows all about it. First and foremost, before we go into the photographs, I want to give a huge thank you to G. Okamoto, Matsubura-san, and Jeremy Souls from X Plus. Thank you so much. The fans, thank you. our wallets hate you right now. So we'll get it out of the way. But yeah, we got some great news and some great figures that are coming out. So I guess Kyle, you're going to showcase the photos and I'll talk over them.
That's exactly what I'd like to do, Leslie, and I'll share that screen right about now. All right. So, take it away, Leslie.
All right. Now, this is going to be, from what I understand, this is going to be the large monster series, or Toho large monster series, 25 centimeter Godzilla 2019, from the most recent Godzilla film, Godzilla King of the Monsters. And yes, as you can see, he looks really good. For me personally, I think the potential of what may follow is actually more interesting than Godzilla himself. Because if they're going to make this one, they're going to make hopefully Rodan, Mothra, and of course King Ghidorah in 25 centimeter scale. So yeah, it looks really great. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see what comes out besides him. But like I said, if I had a gander a guess, we're going to get the other three: Rodan, Mothra, and definitely King Ghidorah. Yes.
From what I understand, they're still looking at improving ways to do wings, since all three of those guys are from the winged kaiju style.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this right here is the Devil Real Burning Godzilla or Nuclear Godzilla or wherever the heck you want to call it. I call it Burning Godzilla 2019, and I think this is actually the Rick version. And I think there have been a lot of folks asking what exactly is the Rick version of this release. I think basically what happened with the Sakai 95 last year, they're applying the same thing to the Devil Real, where the regular is going to be like a painted version of the Burning Godzilla in the Devil Real, but the Rick is going to come like with translucent material, where he comes off a little bit more organic, burning wise. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what's going on with the Devil Real Burning Godzilla 2019. And yeah, I know my boy Ruffin. Yes, same page with this one. Yes, of course. If you're a fan, also Dale Champagne Martinez is in the chat.
Yes.
He's a huge fan of this film.
Oh.
Of course, these kaiju are from the 1974 classic epic film Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and of course we have the Devil Real series of King Caesar. To the right, to the left, and excuse me, to the right, you have the regular King Caesar Devil Real that has the statue. I think that's going to be the Rick version. Of course, in the middle, you have another Devil Real King Caesar with the perked up ears. If I had to guess, I don't know this for certain. I think the Rick is going to come with the perked up ears and the statue, kind of like the 25 centimeter version, and the regular version is going to come with the floppy ears. And of course, to the far left, we have, the first time that this design has been introduced from Pet Plus, the 1974 Godzilla. Yes. And of course, I think, that little 8 thing in the middle, I think that's going to be the Rick version of that Devil Real. I think it's going to be the Rick version.
So the green alien ape comes with the Godzilla, you think, and not the King Caesar?
I'm thinking because it would make more sense for the statue to come with King Caesar. Like I said,
got it.
The same thing happened with the 25 centimeter version, where that Rick version, not the light up eyes, but the original version came with perked up ears and a statue. So I see them doing the exact same thing for the Devil Real. But the 74 Godzilla was really a shocker. And for all those people that are upset that they chose the Devil Real to bring out the 74 versus a large monster series version or 30 centimeter versions, if anything, this is confirmation that we will get a 74 Godzilla in 25 centimeter and 30 centimeter scale. Understandably, the Devil Reals are not for everybody. They don't cater to everybody. I get that, but this is a step in the right direction. This is a step of things to come, and I'm calling it right now. Look at that head sculpt of the Devil Real 74.
Fantastic.
You argue that it's probably big as a gigantic series version. I'm calling it right now. We will get a gigantic series 1974 Godzilla to go up against something else that we're going to talk about in a few seconds. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get both of these figures. I love this film so much. I love these kaiju so much. And once again, the large monster series 74 Godzilla and 30 centimeter Godzilla 74 is coming. But I think they're doing right by us by giving us a Devil Real first. So yeah. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say about the 74. It will be interesting if they did the electric lines that went across him, because it looks like he's in that pose where he's charging up. Or if they did light up. So it looks like he would have the.
Yeah, because also at the same time, I just felt it was kind of weird for the ape. I mean, like I said, I don't know this for certain. You know what I'm saying? I'm just guessing here, just like everybody else have been doing. I just find that to be a weird rig option for Godzilla and ape. If anything, I would expect the ape thing to be come along with the Death of Real show of Mecha Godzilla. You see what I'm saying? But then again, X Plus has been known to showcase, a few things, but sometimes things happen, things change. And by the time the figure comes up for pre-order, we get something totally different. So you may be on to something there. But like I said, look at that head sculpt. If they could do that for a Death of Real, they can definitely do a gigantic series version. I'm calling it right now. We will get a gigantic series 1974 Godzilla.
And it'll be perfect.
Perfect. And I think the next photo is going to be what? Death of Real Serizawa?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, this is a Death of Real. Death of Real Serizawa, him holding the oxygen destroyer. Once again, we get another oxygen destroyer courtesy of X Plus. I definitely am getting this one to put up against my gigantic series Godzilla 1954. I'm breaking the news to you now. You're going to get him, so don't worry about it. But yes, I am loving this figure. You know what I'm saying? Once again, the Death of Real series. I'm not going after every single one of them, but this one seems like a rare commodity in the Death of Real line that if you're a fan of this film, especially if you're a fan of Serizawa, you need to have this figure. And plus, they're really affordable. They're not really too expensive. You know what I'm saying? But it is worth the investment, especially if you're a fan of Serizawa and the Oxygen Destroyer.
Yeah, I don't collect the Death of Reals, and I'm almost certainly going to get this one.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've done a human character for the Death of Real series, too.
It is. It is.
True. Right.
And hopefully it's the trend that continues.
But if you count, I think they've done Gridman and other figures in the Death of Real line. They've done Pennywise, they've done Jason Voorhees, But far as I think an actual character from these Godzilla movies, I think the Serizawa is the very first one, and how appropriate since he was in the original Godzilla film and he did kill the original Godzilla.
I mean, aside from Toygraph, this is pretty much it. Besides a very obscure resin model kit that is long out of production, that's it. Seeing Serizawa, the Oxygen Destroyer, right?
The 25 centimeters.
That's what I said. Toygraph.
No, 25 centimeters.
The 25 centimeters.
Oh, right. The little tiny. Yeah, sorry.
Otherwise, that's it. Yeah.
Yep. That's true.
So moving along, Leslie. This
was another shocker, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting yet another gigantic series, 2019 Godzilla. And this one is actually going to be the burning one. This is going to be the nuclear pulse burning, whatever the heck they call that thing. Like I said, I'm calling it the gigantic burning Godzilla 2019. And they're coming out, like I said, with the gigantic series version of it, which was a shocker. And I've seen a lot of folks really are happy with this release. I know some folks that did get the standard, the Rick, and now they're going to go after this one. But I did say this on Facebook that if you were in the hunt or in the market for a gigantic series 2019 last year, you couldn't get your hands on one, you might be able to get your hands on one now, because I know there may be some people that's going to sell their gigantic 2019s to get the money for this one. So this is really nice. And I'm passing on this one. Once again, I enjoy the legendary Godzilla design, but I'm too big of a fan of it, and I have enough representations of it. I have the Rick. My wife Sandra has the standard. She's in the chat. I love you, hey. And I'm just done with the gigantic Godzilla 2019, or just 2019s in general. So, but if you want to get this figure, please go for it. Just realize you're going to spend some money for it. But, I just can't wait to see this thing painted up and how it will look up against the original gigantic burning Godzilla. But only time will tell with that.
I like this guy because it looks like he just hit the best trick-or-treat house on the block. And he's just got he's double fisting his bags of candy and he's leaving the house.
You know what? I do actually like this pose in terms of look at his fists. His fists are clenching. I actually do like that. So I do find this, at least that, a little bit superior to the original one. But aside from that, once again, this is just because this thing's going to be expensive. I just can't see myself going after another one, even though I do enjoy it. And okay, Sandra, if you want it, I'll buy it for you. I love you too. Thank you. So yeah. So more likely, even though I'm passing on it, my wife says she may want it, so we may end up getting it anyway. So yeah. Hooray for my wallet. So yeah. And this guy deserves a round of applause from everybody here. Raise your hands. Finally, he is finally here. The X Plus Gigantic Series, Showa 1974 Mecha Godzilla. I know between my co-hosts, I know I'm getting it. I know John's getting it. I know David's getting it. I'm not too sure about Kyle and Christine, but if there aren't, they should really get on the bandwagon and pre-order it now, because you already know this thing's probably going to sell out on Hobby Search or wherever. And once again, this guy has been a long time coming. We first saw this guy at the Summer Wonder Festival in 2018. And we thought we would get it at least, way before now, right? But they decided to bring forth the 2019 Gigantic, and rightfully so, because the movie was coming out at the same time, and X Plus wanted to capitalize on the popularity of the film. So they pushed Mechagodzilla to the wayside for that one. But now he is finally here, and at the time of this show, he just came up for pre-order yesterday on Hobby Search, and as well as the Rick site. The Rick Boy version comes up with it's coming with light up eyes and has a light up laser chest cannon. Basically, basically the same Rick feature that came with the 30cm 75 Mecha Godzilla. Is the same thing going on. And I have seen some folks, believe it or not, have said, why couldn't they come out with a minifigure for the Rick? Why couldn't they do this? Blah blah blah. Overlooking the fact that this is the first gigantic series figure to have a light up. So let's just be happy about that, in my opinion. But even if you don't want the Rick, this guy, the standard, is going to be awesome. And he drops in May. So like I said, he just came up for pre-order yesterday. And I look at this guy really going to sell out. So if you're on the fence about wanting to pre-order this guy, get off that fence, pre-order it now, because you never know. You may wake up tomorrow morning, want to pre-order one from Hobby Search or whatever, and they're all sold out. So if you want this, yes, the first time we ever getting a non-Godzilla gigantic series figure, they could not pick a better kaiju than this awesome villain right here, Mechagodzilla. And hopefully Gigan will not be too far behind. Right, Kyle?
You know it, man. In fact, I was going to say that anybody who is even thinking about getting this figure should buy it, because the more people that buy the non-Godzilla gigantic figures, the more non-Godzilla gigantic figures we will get from X Plus.
Yeah.
Right. And before we get to the next slide, I want to ask one quick question to my co-hosts as well, people in the chat, and just give just a short answer so we can move on. Better cyborg, Mechagodzilla or Gigan?
Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla.
Gotta go with Mechagodzilla.
Kyle, where you at?
I mean, Gigan's better, but Mechagodzilla is the first one a cyborg. I mean, really, does it count as a cyborg if it doesn't have Katsura's brain? Or anyway, yeah, I still love Gigan. I gotta go with Gigan. Gotta go with the banana hands.
I'm going Mechagodzilla, even though Gigan is really cool, and I really hope that he will be the next non-Godzilla gigantic coming from the gigantic series. G said it. He mentioned it. I have not forgot about it. I know Kyle has not forgot about it. I know all the Gigan fans have not forgot about it. So hopefully we'll get that, sooner rather than later. I think actually the sales of Mechagodzilla will prove, hey, you know what? Maybe there is some value in these non-Godzilla gigantics. And considering what I've been seeing so far, as far as like the feedback and the reaction to Mechagodzilla, I think, we are in for some non-Godzilla gigantics.
Hey, so you asked about the chat. I think I'm going to test out a feature of this. Phil, the Kaiju King, said he'll be on 7th Heaven when the gigantic Gigan comes out. Also, I'm only going to show people who voted for Gigan. Way to go.
Oh, man. You guys.
Oh, look at all my bros here.
Greg.
All right, sorry. No, there were people talking about Mechagodzilla too, but Geigen was getting a lot of love in the chat there. So anyway, we should move along and talk about the next figure on this.
All right.
I need to do that.
If it is what I think it is. Well, I was thinking about another bug, but we'll get to him later. But yes, this is Iris. Yes, Iris. Of course, we already know about Iris was coming. I think we saw pictures of him, I think last year. I forgot what show it was. It was probably a super festival. Or actually, you know what? I think we saw pictures of him, a digital photo of him at last year's Winter Fest. And now we've seen pictures of him material, it's been turned into actual sculpt now. We don't know when it's coming out. But it looks really, really good. You know what I'm saying? They also made, if you can see right there towards the right, they're coming out with another 25 centimeter Gamma 1999 to pair up with this Iris, and he's going to come with, I think, with a plasma fist and something else, I think, involved in the movie.
He comes with the plasma fist and also with a stump arm because, spoiler alert. And then he also has the little Ayana in the gross carcassy stuff. And I pre-ordered that figure and cannot wait to get it.
Yeah, and I know it's been a long time coming, folks. I think it's been like, over 9K just said in the chat, it's been 2 years, but trust me, it's coming. Trust me, they would not tease something like this and not get it out. But you have to realize something. Gamma is not really as popular as Godzilla. So Gamma releases happen too far in between, but when they do happen, they're awesome. Legion comes to mind. Baragon that came out last year was an awesome figure, and I see this guy really being no different. So just let's exercise a little bit of patience, and once it comes, it'll come. Trust me, everything else that they showcase at this show, you don't want like 5 or 6 pre-orders to come down on you in 1 month. Trust me, that's happened to me before. So let's be a little bit patient on that. What's next? All right. And of course, I think David can help me out more with this because these are Ultraman monsters. I know the one with the big yellow cocaine eyes. I think his name is.
I've never quite heard him referred to in that way before, but yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have David take over here for a few seconds because he knows more about these Ultra Kaiju than I do. Go ahead, David.
Well, sure. The only one that I really know about is the big yellow cocaine eyes monster, and his name is Kira. And he's from the first series of Ultraman, and that's the second to last episode of the series. And he is on the planet Cordon, where he fights another monster called Saigo, which I'm sure isn't far behind because they initially released both of these in their first line of Ultra Monsters, and this looks like it's part of their Reborn series. So, and I'm not much help with these other ones because they're from like Ultraman, Return of Ultraman, and Ultraman Ace. I'm really not familiar with those monsters' names, as cool as they are. But yes, Kira from the original Ultraman is pretty awesome, and I'm pretty stoked for him. Yeah. And and then there's a 30 centimeter Gavora with his open neck frill. And
actually, sorry, David, that's these are actually from a brand new series of X Plus figures, and I'm trying to find out if they are actually releasing them with cards on them like the Bandai figures.
Oh wow!
But you can see here. Let me just sorry to interrupt, but yeah, you can see even in the price tag here, these are only going to be $50 each.
Wow.
Oh well,
my goodness.
I was under the impression that they were larger, but they look pretty small.
That's so I don't know how big these are in scale to the 25 centimeter, but they're definitely going to be smaller. And like I said, they're part of this new, I think it's called Ultra 5000 series. Definitely interested in seeing what comes down the pipe from this particular series.
Great. Another line of Ultra series to collect.
Thanks. Collect these.
For somebody like me, though, like I like Ultraman quite a bit, but I don't love Ultraman. So if I was interested in collecting X Plus Ultras, this would be a fantastic line to start on.
Yeah, no, it's smaller footprint and a great price point. Yeah, the one monster in the front looks like his name is Beacon. I don't know what that one is. Gavora and That one's from Return of Ultraman 2.
I know the one on the right is called Marucci.
Marucci. He looks like a sockeye salmon kaiju.
Yes.
Sort of. Yes.
More Ultra.
Yeah, I don't know those. Those are like from Ultraman Ace and Taro and Leo or something, but just kind of.
That one on the left is going to give us like a content warning from Auto. Anyway, moving on.
man, where is Vince Elliott when you need him? He's like the Ultraman.
He's the one. Vince Elliott or Ryan Bullard are the two Ultraman guys that know all these obscure later series Ultraman monsters. And of course, yet another gigantic Type C Ultraman. This looks like it's the same sculpt as the one that was released previously, but it looks like it's more of a darker silver tone to his body. And of course, this is very tempting to a gigantic Baltan Seijin. And that's the first appearance of Baltan that was in episode 2.
Right. And it's kind of ironic that, that this is the first time, to my knowledge, that we're getting a gigantic series Ultraman foe. It's kind of ironic that this would show up on the same show that they finally showcased Mecha Godzilla, a gigantic foe that's not Godzilla. But when I saw that, even though I'm not a huge Ultraman fan, I have to say when I first saw this, I really got excited for you, David, and you, John. I felt sorry for your wallets, but I was excited because I know that y'all are huge Ultraman fans. And even though you may not, I don't know if y'all can get Boston or not, but I just think it may open the door for other Ultraman foes in the gigantic series. Like, can you imagine a gigantic series Bemular or Gyango or maybe a gigantic series Jirass, something like that? So
I think that what they'll probably do, if this one sells well, which I'm pretty sure it will, they'll probably do like the humanoid aliens first. Dada would be fantastic as a gigantic. Kimurjin, who else? Mephiles, giant Mephiles would be cool. I think the humanoid kaiju would probably be the most logical to do first, but yeah, Leslie, I would love to see the other ones eventually too. Love, hate. I love to see them hate to have to want to get them. So you know how that goes.
Absolutely.
Love with the heart, hate with the wallet.
That's right. Amen, brother.
Now this is what Vampirella, and I have no idea who this chick is.
What?
So, okay. This is for the older people, and not older people, but older people who used to get Famous Monsters Warren magazine.
Seasoned collectors and fans out there. Seasoned.
So, G Akamoto is a huge fan of vintage toys and garage kits and models from the US. And Vampirella is a character from a comic that was a spin-off from Famous Monsters magazine. And Aurora Model Kits did a Vampirella in a snap-together version in the 70s. And this one is, looks like it's sculpted right after the image, that drawing behind there. It looks almost identical to it. So, yeah, Vampirella is a comic book monster character from the old Warren magazines from back in the day, and I know G is very excited about this release. And it looks like it's going to be a model kit and not a figure too. So,
oh, really? Okay.
I think it said model kit on there, and I know G loves to do the Aurora style vintage box art. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this one, how this one will manifest.
There you go, Leslie.
Now, here we go. Now, this was the guy that really, besides gigantic Mecha Godzilla, I think this was the guy that had a lot of people buzzing, happy, overjoyed, ecstatic, the whole 9 yards. I would say he could probably rival Mecha Godzilla in terms of how people were responding favorably to him, because we knew that the Mecha Godzilla was coming at some point. We had no idea about Megalon. So here we are, the 30-centimeter Megalon from Godzilla versus Megalon. Of course, I've been saying ever since Jaguar got released a couple years ago, I believe, that they have to do the other three in the 30-centimeter scale. Megalon for sure, Godzilla for sure. Gigan, Maybe, you know, I mean, but think about, but don't be surprised if like it was reissued a 72 Gigan, you know what I'm saying, just to not have a reason to create the 73 version. But I believe that there is enough of a difference between the 72 and 73 Gigan that we need a 73 Gigan. If they can make a 68 Godzilla and a 71, why not make a 73 Gigan? You see what I'm saying? But yes, this guy right here, for my first ever Godzilla film of all time, Megalon, and I can't wait to see him up against the Jet Jaguar. Kind of ironic since they were the ones that was originally starring the film by themselves anyway. But yeah, this guy is awesome. I know a lot of folks are happy that Megalon is coming. You know what I'm saying? Especially from this movie. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, Jet Jaguar was the only 30 centimeter figure from this movie. They all been 25s up until Jet Jaguar. But now we're getting Megalon, and you got to know that Godzilla probably going to be next after that. So yeah, this was really a highlight of the show. Like I said, I think it could rival Mecha Godzilla in terms of how people were responding favorably to him. So yeah, I'm definitely getting Megalon.
So Leslie, I have a question for you. What would you like? What would you like the Rick feature to be? Would you like it to be Antonio from Zootopia, or or the little boy on the dolphin thing?
Oh,
that would be wonderful.
Actually, you know what? You could do plenty of other Rick options with Megalon. You could do Antonio with the toga with the Megalon hair bracelet. You can do that little, like you said, the float thing that the boy's on, or that little small mini motorcycle that he somehow created when he was like, what, 8 or 9 years old? And
Mini Rider.
But realistically, I actually saw an alternate Megalon head on the table. So it could be a situation where one Megalon head had his mouth open and the other one is closed. Or maybe you can do like a light up in his horn, you know, where his horn will light up. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty that they can do. But still, the fact of the matter is, as long as he's coming, which we know he is coming, it doesn't really matter what the Rick feature is going to be. Let me touch on a couple more things before we move on. Of course, they showcase a large monster series Godzilla 2002 from Godzilla x Mechagodzilla. It looked really good. We all got the Sakai. In my opinion, I think the Sakai looks a little bit better. But if you know they're going to make a 2002 Godzilla in the 25 centimeter scale, you know that Kiryu is not far behind them. And quite frankly, if they make a 25 centimeter Mothra from Tokyo SOS, I'll be down with that too. Because I love that version of Mothra. She looks very, very beautiful. And also, can't forget about this guy. I think behind Mechagodzilla, Megalon, this guy actually got a lot of great feedback too. And that was a 1993 30 centimeter Godzilla from Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, or the Heisei version, or whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of folks are really happy to get that figure. And I know what David said, and he has a point. Pretty much all the Heisei designs, they look really similar to each other. But still, I think there's enough difference in the 93 Godzilla that, once you put him up against Super Mechagodzilla and Fire Rodan, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be awesome. And I also say, until they make a 94 Godzilla, since the 93 looks more similar to the 94 Godzilla than the 92, you could probably put that upcoming 93 Godzilla up against Mogera and Space Godzilla. So you can alternate between setups there. That's good. Yeah. And I think the Rick option between of the 93 Godzilla should be one of two things, really. Either come with a small baby Godzilla or give it like glitter paint, yellow paint, on his body to signify him resurrecting at the end, kind of like what they did with the Bandai a lot of years ago. If they did that and probably give him red dorsal plates as a light up, I'm going Rick all day with that one. So I think that was pretty much it for like what X Plus showed at Wonderfest. Once again, they showed out in a big way. Our wallets are hurting right now because what we have to pay for in the upcoming months. But I was so excited coming out of that show and see everybody else excitement over what's coming. It really was a good time to see everybody just overjoyed. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Wonderfest, as far as like X Plus, they have dropped some really big bombshells over the years about, showcasing figures there for the first time. They end up getting released. The gigantic Shin Godzilla comes to mind that was showcased in 2017. Of course, this guy right here, the Megazord or was showcased at a Winterfest a few years ago. The Gigantic 89, of course, Gigantic Mechagodzilla, the Gigantic 64. The first ever Sakai 91 was showcased there, the Gigantic 54. So Mogera, the 30 centimeter anime Godzilla, whoop-de-doo on that one. But of course, Frankenstein was showcased there for the first time. So X Plus, that's one thing in our group, in our X Plus Facebook group or club. Like, we look at Winterfest as like the Super Bowl of like model shows or what's going to be coming out and stuff like that. And this time they didn't disappoint. They really didn't disappoint. Before we go to our intermission, do we have any exclusives in our collection? Y'all want to share right fast?
I mean, this would probably be the best time to do it, right?
Go for it.
I have the exact same thing that David's showcasing right there, but mine's built up. This is the Yuji Sakai Shin Godzilla.
Very nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been slack. I need to build him up. It's only been a year.
You know what I love the most about this guy is he just looks like candy. Or like
He looks like a giant gummy, yeah.
it's like so red. It's beautiful.
And of course, I got the reissue set of Gigan and Megalon, I think in 2015. The first time I had these 25 centimeter figures, but just to whet your appetite, this guy is coming in the 30 centimeter. Look at this guy. Can you imagine? 30 centimeter. Yes, he is coming. Megalon is coming. So, yeah. And once again, X Plus, G, Jeremy Souls, Matsubura-san, thank y'all so much. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. We cannot thank you enough for what you have done for us as far as like collectibles and stuff like that. Thank you for finally getting Mechagodzilla to us, because I don't know how long. Like, every morning I would wake up and I would jump on the Facebook group, or at least jump on X Plus to find out if Mechagodzilla was coming. And every morning I was disappointed. But last Saturday, when I saw those photos, I was like, oh, it was like touching the face of God. I was like, thank you so much. You finally delivered. You finally delivered Mechagodzilla. I don't hate to say it, because right now my Gigantic 64 is my favorite in the Gigantic series currently in my collection. But that Mechagodzilla, oh boy, I'm gonna have to talk with the 64. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for us. Like what happened with X Plus and Wonderfest and all that good stuff. Now, before we go on to the Sofubi commentary of this show, we're gonna take a little bit brief intermission. You know, drink some water so we get ourselves together, and we'll come back and we'll finish this awesome show. So please stay with us.
Well done.
30cm シリーズ堺有事造形コレクションゴジラ1995年香港上陸ソフビ組み立てキットクリアイエローバージョン購入情報については少年リックのウェブサイトをご覧ください。
おいらは怪獣マズイラだ。ご飯がまずくなる恐ろしい怪獣ですね。坊やの運命やいかに完全と現れた正義の味方。さすがのマズイラも美味しいものには弱かったですね。ご飯の味方、何はなくとも江戸紫。スタート。
Join the X Plus Kaiju Collectors Facebook group and connect with other X Plus addicts. Get X Plus news quicker. Buy and sell X Plus vinyls. Ask questions or just lurk and see what's going on. Join the X Plus Kaiju Collectors Club Facebook group and get in touch with the world of X Plus.
And we have returned from our mini break. Man, I got to tell you, that is necessary after doing this for over an hour and a half. We're at almost 2 hours, guys. So we're not going to blaze through. We're going to keep going. We're going to present all the stuff we want to present to you guys. But I think the best thing for me to do is to take control of the segue here and say that, we've talked about the highly detailed X Plus figures. We've talked about the highly detailed model kits. But recently, I'd say within the past maybe 5 or 6 years, we've seen a soft vinyl explosion happen at Wonder Festival. And so we're turning things over to Christine Chapin, who is now unmuted, and we can hear her if she can hear us. Can you hear us? Oh, no. How about now? Okay, no problem. So things have been very toy-centric with Wonder Festival over the past year. Not that's the past year, past several years. David and I were after a figure that came out at Wonder Festival, and like I said earlier, we've got these one-day licenses that allow someone to create a figure, just as an example, like the Knots storyboard figure, and sell it for that one day, just one day where you can sell it. They won't take pre-orders. They won't ship it later. You just have to get it at that point. And, because I care about the show, I'm just going to continue to spitball about the soft vinyl explosion that is Wonder Festival.
Sorry.
Until Christine's ready to talk. And then
I'm back now.
She's ready.
I'm so ready. I've been waiting for this all night. Okay, so recently, maybe not recently, but I think around the late 90s is when the soft vinyl really started picking up at Wonder Festival, and since then it's been growing and growing at a huge rate, and it's a very big draw now at Wonder Festival, and something that I always look forward to because I am huge into soft vinyl now. I know Kyle has some photos that I have, so first I want to talk about the Metacom booth because they are always coming out with some great sculpts, and I was excited about a few of the releases that they had here. They had some new stuff. It was really cool, very exciting. So I think most of you have seen the announcement for this. They had jumbo style Godzilla soft vinyl and a Mecha Godzilla with it. But these are really, really big, and the price tag for them is pretty hefty as well. I think they're sitting at around $400, but these are big pieces, and this is the first time they've ever released anything of this size in the past 3 years. Really cool. I like how Mecha Godzilla looks like he has little working gloves on. So that, doesn't it? It looks like he's going to the toilet or something.
He's been promoted.
So I think that's really exciting. But the price tag for it is a bit high, so it's kind of like a gigantic X Plus figure. And the next photo I have that I thought was really cool. Super cute. So there's a new sculpt of the 54 Godzilla, you can see here, done by Anraku-san. Really, really cute. It's based off one of the maquettes for the 54. I've been trying to get a hold of one of these, but so far he has been eluding me. These sold out really quickly at the show. I think they were the third item, I think they said, that sold out. I was hoping to nab one there, but Yahoo Japan auctions for me from now on. And then they had a new color CCP Burning Godzilla next to him, and a new color reissue of the Dozing Godzilla, which is super cute. I used to have one of those. I think it's from Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, where he's sitting down taking a nap.
I actually am not 100% sure on the origin of these because in addition to that style sitting, they also made the laying down style, which I think is supposed to be reminiscent of a Buddha pose, but I really don't know yet. So we'll find out in the coming years when we keep doing the show.
Yeah, that always reminded me.
Are these Vinyl Wars? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that beginning part.
Yes.
So
Well,
these
Medicom.
Medicom Vinyl Wars, and oh my God, he's blue. You have to have him. He's blue.
I know. I've been trying. There's been a few listed, but they're a little bit too high for me right now. That I have a certain limit on each one, but I mean, eventually, I hope I'll score it. And this is only the first release of it, so I'm sure at the next festival they'll have a new color, and hopefully prices will be a little bit more affordable. Because I would love to get one. I absolutely love his little cheesy grin and his big fat head. Oh God, I would love to get one of those. And then we have the giant burning Godzilla, which they've had a few releases of them. This one is really neat, though. I know they had a Desugoji in this burning style that was released a couple fests ago, and now they have the giant size marmot Desugoji, which is pretty cool. And a super cute, bright neon green of the Pretty Godzilla, he is called. That was a new color of that, and a new color of the Gigan that you see in the middle there. And also a new sculpt they had out was this Hydra. It's the I wrote it down, I can't remember. It's like a vintage style that Dan Miller just got. And it's cute because he has like this little pot belly. I think so. That's a new one that they just released. I think they're starting a new line with that.
That's actually part of the sort of vintage soft vinyl look that they've been doing for the past 2 years. I think every single Wonder Festival since a year ago, basically, they've released some kind of cool reissued version of an older figure, like those Shogun Warrior style pieces you showed at the very beginning. So that's definitely something that Medicom has just taken off with, and I look forward to seeing more of that stuff in the future too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Is that Desugoji translucent?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Gorgeous.
That's really nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like orangish, yellowish, blue. It's like it almost kind of looks like they tried to do a smoking fire, like and the like Christine mentioned earlier, one of the previous Wonder Festivals had the Marmot Monster Heaven Desugoji styled just like this one. So this is like a companion piece, this giant Godzilla.
It's beautiful. It almost looks like it's made out of something called depression glass, which is something that Keith's mom collects. And I mean, I can't really see up close, but it's got that like that amber luminescence to it. It's beautiful, beautiful figure.
Yeah, it really is.
Nice.
Hey, actually, you know what? I just realized that I forgot to do something before we started the soft vinyl segment, which was to check in on the chat room. It's been good to see some more people joining us, but I had a question. Since Wonder Festival was last weekend, for the people that are in the chat and watching live, I kind of want to know, what was the coolest thing you saw displayed at Wonder Festival last weekend? Okay. Nice. Now you may continue, Christine. I'm sorry for the interruption.
And then it was the next one. Oh, this is just a picture that Jay took for me of all the items that they had and the Wonderfest booth, which all quickly pretty much sold out. But if you can see on it, they also have one of the Shogun Rodans up there. They had a reissue of, which was pretty cool. I haven't really seen any of those pop up yet online, but pretty neat right there. Look at them.
All right.
All right, I'll go to the next one.
Next up. Oh wait, what is it? That was the end of the.
Oh wait.
We have the Harry
There
House.
we go. Yes, this one I was really excited for. The Cyclops and Voyage of Sinbad. This is a new release that they had there. I think this was one of the first ones that sold out. But it's really, I like how they've been, like the past couple of years, they've had like the other monsters from Voyage of Sinbad. They've had Ymir from, what was it?
20 Million Miles to Earth.
Yeah, so this was a nice addition to the Harryhausen line.
Actually, Christine, this is from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, which is my favorite in the series. So sorry, I just wanted to put that out.
Sorry. I haven't seen them like forever, so I was trying to remember which one they were from. But also, he fights the Griffin, right?
Yes, this is also in the same movie with the Griffin. The dragon is from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And
there we go. Taro.
This is the centaur creature.
So cool. And they also, there's another pilgrim.
I bet you Dan Miller is stoked. That's his.
I hope Dan gets them, but they're so expensive online right now. I've been keeping an eye on them. So yeah, then we have the Cyclops, Ymir in the back. And then
I have a question that maybe one of you guys can answer. Hopefully you Christine. Now, is the centaur from a Pilot Ace mold, or is it a brand new sculpt? Because I know the other ones are from Pilot Ace molds.
I think it's a new one. I'm not 100%. I've never seen it before.
I haven't either. I think it's new as well. I agree with you.
And I'm pretty sure I had seen online that it was a new. I know that they were debuting it here, and it was like
it fits in perfectly.
And I've never seen one issued prior.
And it's blue.
And it's blue. And then they just have new colors of the. I mean, it would be cool to get Charles the Dragon.
Are we moving on?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. I'm just gotta keep us on track a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I think that does it for our Metacom, right? Okay, so what are we going to do next? Sungatsu.
I love Sungatsu. So they had a clear translucent red with clear smoke Shingazo that came out. This was a Wonderfest color exclusive for that one. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm not really a big fan of Shingazo, but I like Sungatsu's representations of him. And the next one I think is the Awakening version. The next photo. Yes, this one, I love this one. So it's purple translucent vinyl. I actually ended up getting one of these. It hasn't come in yet. I was hoping it would come in before our show, but he should be on his way soon. I'm really stoked for this. I love translucent vinyl. And I don't know, I just really like his screaming look that he's got going on. Yeah, he will be my very first Shin Godzilla figure. So I'm a little bit excited about that. I can't wait for him to come in. And then next, I think, is another angle. But how cool is that looking, though? And he's got the white eyes.
Great color.
I love it. And I like the pose, too. He's just like, ah! Oh, and then they had so there's a Gamma DNA exhibit coming up, and they released some little new Gamma figures, which are super cute. The Gamma, Skyron, I think one more. Oh, no, and then they had, that's right, the 62. They had the 62 Godzilla. This one's new by Sungus. They had that on display, debuting at this past Wonderfest.
I like it.
Hopefully we'll get a King Kong to go with them soon. That'd be neat. Kamada-kun! I like this version of him, translucent purple. He's cute. I'm thinking about picking up one of these too. I don't have any Kamada-kuns yet, but he just got that happy little face. And then Shinagawa-kun, for this, they had the translucent red release for this Wonderfest. And I think that was it for... Oh, no, they had Red Man, which I've actually never seen Red Man. Like, I know of it, but I've never seen any Red Man episodes. So they had a Red Man, and then...
Red Man is insane.
Yeah, I know. I need to watch it. Crazy. I haven't even seen all of Ultraman yet. I'm such a slacker.
I will say
gonna get after me.
The difference between Red Man and Ultraman is like Ultraman is a full meal and Red Man is a sugary snack that you just have one of and then you're done with it.
That's a great analogy. That's great. Perfect.
I will eventually get to watching Ultraman. I have a couple box sets. I need to get on it. I think this one is Garamon. Do you guys know who they are? Or Telestone?
This is actually Red Moon, which is a character that was made out of a very, very old Pigmon costume.
That's why he looks the face. I see it.
So one of the deals with the Redman show is that all of the kaiju look like garbage. They look like they've been stored in a shed for 5 years,
Because
and that's
they have,
exactly what that was. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Like if you haven't seen Redman, or in fact, Matt Frank actually did a Redman comic that's been officially licensed by Tsuburaya. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, but also very weird and obscure.
I actually like that little figure. He's pretty cool.
He's cute.
He wants to come home with you, David.
Well, I got a space for him right behind me.
Do you have any Sungut stuff, David?
I don't have any Redman stuff. Nothing. Zero.
Do you have any Sungut stuff?
You know what? I don't. And I need to rectify that.
Because like I've noticed lately, the past couple of years, they've been really becoming more popular in the fandom. And like I mean, this is the Shin Godzilla will be my. Oh wait, no, I have the Sun Guts DMK and Baragon set. I forgot.
The Baragon set is one that I saw at Kyle's house, and I really wanted it. And now
nice.
you just introduced me to that 62, which is definitely now on my radar because that's pretty sweet too.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure they'll have
it's actually pretty big.
I'm a Sun Guts virgin.
All right, sorry.
They're nice little figures. And this is a Sun Guts table. So this is all like their prior releases they had before at the show. But you can see, so the two Shin Godzillas are off the left hand side there, and then you got Shinigami, and then there's you can see how big the 62 is right there next to.
The camera is really big.
Yeah.
I thought the camera would be small from that picture.
Because usually the Sun Guts figures are pretty small. Like the GMK and Baragon, they're maybe like this big.
Yeah, they're small.
They're not very big.
I
was surprised to see how big the Shin Godzilla is compared to, I've seen pictures online of the Kamada-kun. He's very, very tiny, very tiny. So it was interesting to see the scale difference between the Shin, the Gamras, and then all the other assortment of little kaijus that he's got on his table there. And I think that was it for Sun Guts. Oh yeah, there's all the stuff they had up for order. All the new stuff they debuted.
I'm a huge fan of that company actually, because not only do they do some kaiju stuff, they do yokai figures. So
yes, that may be my first Sun as a yokai figure.
And this is some of the other. I think these are on the bottom here was also from Redman.
Well, clearly the one on the top left is from a Telesdon suit.
Top right.
Yeah, top right. Sorry, top right. Yes.
And the two on the bottom right are actually like some of Sun Guts' own figures, I think. The one in the middle, I'm not positive about, but the one on the right with the little face coming out of the kaiju suit.
Oh yeah, that one's cute.
They've been putting that out for a little while. All right, what's next, Christine?
Next, we got Saru Jurishi. Super excited about this. So Saru Jurishi they just started making figures. I think, do I have one of the 54?
The which one? 64?
The 54.
Oh, the 54. I believe you do. There you go.
That one. So this is a new sculpt that was done by Masami Yamada, and it was just released in December for Character Fest. The first wave it was a black color, and it was a Godzilla with a guitar from the promo photos for the original 54 movie that had, he was playing on a boat with Emiko and, oh my god, I just blanked, Ogata. So that sculpt is based on this photo, but for Character Fest, they only had the license to sell the Godzilla with the guitar just for that festival for one day. But they could sell the actual sculpt of the 54 in different colorways at other festivals. So this is the blue version, which I really love this sculpt. It reminds me a lot of the new M154 sculpt that came out. I think it's very similar to that. But I really like this one. I wanted to pick it up, but then I saw the Enraku's 54 for Medicom, and now I'm debating, like, how many blue ones do I need? I need all of them, but this
reminds me of the Pilot A sculpt, Christine.
Oh, it does too.
Kind of the scale of it and just the way it's stylized just enough. It definitely has a Pilot Ace nuance to me. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get the greenish
That's right, you got the green one.
Yep,
but it's a little bit It's a little bit bigger than the normal size soft vinyl figures. Because usually they're around, because he's bigger even than the M1 stuff. This guy, the Sauter Judici 54. Really nice. I'm excited to see what else they're going to be putting out soon. I mean, I hope they continue making figures because I really like the style of it and the colors that they're doing. I think they have a couple, they have Shin Godzilla too. I think I have the back of
that one was here.
There we go.
Those are great.
Yeah, these are really, and they're smaller too. They're smaller than the 54, but he has the whole set of them: Kamada-kun, Shinagawa-kun, and then Fourth Form, and then the Awakening version. So this was for this Wonderfest, everything had like a blue theme, which I'm totally okay with. So the prior release of this, I think, was red, and now for this Wonderfest, they were all these dark blue kind of color. Well, how cool! I love that Shinagawa-kun. Because that was one of my favorite scenes in that movie was when he was roaring straight up into the air. And I haven't seen a Shinagawa-kun in that pose yet, so I am really a big fan of that one.
I bet you John Ruffin loves that set, huh?
But you're looking for that one, aren't you?
Indeed.
Well, if I see this one pop up, I'll let you know. Very nice. And that was all from Sarujishi. They just have their table. Very small, but, they're just coming out with stuff, so I'm excited to see what else we'll have in store for us. And then M1.
Oh, yeah.
M1.
Love M1.
Oh.
So they had the blank 54 maquette that came with the wooden base. The blank had come out years ago. They had one when they first came out with they had a painted version, and then they had a blank that they had sold. And now I'm pretty sure what I heard was this is the last time they'll be issuing this figure, this particular sculpt. So, I mean, if you don't have one,
you should totally get it.
Yeah, the first one came with the G-Shock
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, it came with the watch, and I should have brought it with me. I had like a little cutout of the poster from the 54 movie with the maquette on it.
Cool.
That was my grail for years and years, and I got it from Chibi Goji Toys back in the day.
Oh,
cool.
Very nice. So yeah, this is neat. I think the blank vinyls are nice because it's nice to be able to. There's a lot of soft vinyl painters out there that I know would make this look beautiful. So, and this is I haven't seen it, but it's based on a cartoon. David, you know what these are, right? It was the Crew.
They're just so whimsical, and you see them all over Japan. You see them like everywhere. They're just so fun.
And it's a little octopus family.
So, for people who are not aware, Kure Takara is actually you could technically call it a tokusatsu show. It's a kids show from the 70s, if my memory is correct. And essentially, it means gimme, gimme octopus. And so the main character is this Kure Takara figure. And so not only did they release an entire set of these guys at the M1 table, but he also comes with the bandana on his head.
It's beautiful. I love them. They're so much fun.
So cute. Oh yes, they had 2 new trikes that they debuted. This one is Kimurjin. I'm not good at Ultraman. I'm sorry. So this was a new sculpt that they had debuted at the table, and then they also had a Kanagan trike as well. There we go. So that's pretty cool. They also have a hetero trike coming out. I don't have a picture of, but I'm excited for their new trike because the trikes are really popular.
A little bit of trivia. The very first figure that M1 produced was actually a Kimurjin. Do you remember Yuji was talking about that in our panel?
In the G-Fest, yeah.
That was the very first toy that M1 produced in this soft vinyl form, which is kind of interesting, I think.
And then here we go. They had this beautiful glowy G2K that was specially painted, and they had a baby too. I love the baby G2Ks. Oh, look at him. He's so cute. So this was an exclusive to Wonderfest. It also came with a signed photo. I should have wrote it down. I can't remember the woman's name. She actually came up with the color style for this figure. But those came with, you can get them as a set, and they came with, she signed a photograph also with the show.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't have enough time to look up her name online for the live show, but she was in the Godzilla Island series as one of the Planet X aliens, and she was also in Ultra 7X from the, I think it was 1999. All right. So that's and yeah, like Christine said, she actually came up with this color scheme. And I think they released it maybe a year ago or maybe a couple of shows ago at Super Festival. And then they reissued it for Wonder Festival.
But the one at Super Festival was in a glowy. Those on, I think it was yellow. Yeah, so this is the first time it's been released in a glow version.
Awesome.
Which will go great with the prior TK glows that they've released before.
I love the purple pearlescent vibe to that.
I say we start with that.
Oh yes, Max Toy. So Max Toy had these 3 cute new sculpts that came out: the Shin, the Hedra, and then the Mega Rogoji. Which the Mega Rogoji's been super popular, I've noticed online. And one, the Hedra too, of course. So this, it kind of looks like it's translucent.
That would not surprise me.
Nope, but they're small, little cute figures. So these are 3 new sculpts that he had released for Wonderfest. Look at that little shin.
So Max Toy is actually a company created by a guy named Mark Nagata, who is a Japanese American living in San Francisco. David knows him. I was able to meet him. I'm hoping to eventually get him on the show as for an interview, because not only does he know about all of this, the inner workings of making soft vinyl toys, but he even knows about the inner workings of course, now dealing with licensed figures and Toho. So I totally want to get him on the show. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Mark. I was lucky enough to see Mark's collection in his apartment in San Francisco a few years ago, and he is the nicest guy. I used to know him back when he ran this Super 7 shop in Japantown in San Francisco, and he's went on to do some great things. He had a part of his Ultraman collection exhibited at the San Francisco International Airport, which I would have liked to have seen at some point. But yeah, I'm so happy to see Mark and his company getting all the accolades that he definitely deserves.
Hey, David, guess what?
What?
You said you want to see that toy show that was on display at the San Francisco International Airport?
I do.
We will, because I took video footage of that like crazy back in like 2014 when I was at the airport. And so at some point I will be compiling that together and releasing it as a video.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm happy to hear that. That's great. Maybe that can go on the episode that we get Mark to
yeah, that's a good idea.
There you go.
All right, so there's the Hedra, and what are we looking at next?
I was gonna try and keep it short. How about AmaPro? Because they had released one thing that I was really excited about. King Caesar. You don't really see a lot of King Caesar figures. So I haven't really heard of AmaPro before, but I noticed that they had these 2 cute, different colored King Caesar figures. They had a gold with glitter and then a red with glitter.
Cute.
Oh, I like the red one.
Yeah.
These look like they're totally up Lolo's alley.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm wondering if she's probably got one.
Well, she's in the chat right now. Maybe she can tell us if she picked one of these up from the festival.
Oh my god, Valentine picture with the Goro figures.
Oh my god, it was so cute.
It made me smile. So bravo.
I love her photos. They're always so colorful and just fun. And the little music clips she puts with them. So I thought these 2 were really neat because you don't really see a lot of King Caesar figures out, especially in the Safubi style, which I don't think. Is there any soft King Caesars? I don't think there is.
I mean, I have the Marmot Parababy. I know they did the Monster.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I have a glowy Parababy.
Oh, nice, David.
All right.
And then this was, I'm assuming, from Ultraman. Superon from Ultraman.
That's the vampire plant from the Monster Lawless Zone episode.
Nice. All right. And what is coming up after Amapro?
Well, Hazawa Gumi, I would like to give out Texas. They just had one new figure that they released at this past Wonderfest, but it was a glowy version of the 65 Godzilla, which was pretty cool. I just saw someone recently on Instagram got one of these, and he has painted it with this really nice pink hue. So that's fun for all of you that can. I wish I had the skills to paint figures. I don't, but I love seeing what everybody else does with it because y'all are very creative.
All right, you want to do one more?
Yeah, I'll do one more. How about what is YMSF? Because they've been coming out with a lot of new stuff lately. He's been really. They had really cute. So they have the ball hedras.
The man ball style, yeah.
Yeah. And then these I thought were really cool. Little like rubber ducky kaiju. So they have a little rubber ducky Godzilla and like a little duck Hedra that glow in the dark. So these two glow in the dark figures were for this Wonderfest. And I think they're just really cute.
They are adorable.
And his media, he just had a new sculpt of media that he's releasing. But yeah, because YMSF's been around for a while, then you haven't really heard from them from a bit. And now he's starting to put out some new figures. And I'm really a big fan of the duck ones. I think they're so cute. So I'm hoping to get one of those. And hopefully, if you guys remember, YMSF was at GFest last. You did an interview with him, Kyle.
That's right. Yeah, we did a little interview. That was in the last episode.
I'm
pretty impressed with the YMSF offerings. In fact, not just the stuff that they've sold, but the stuff they have planned. Like they're doing an entire Chibi Goji line, not talking about the brand new Chibi Goji figure, but like super deformed style Godzilla figures that look pretty well detailed just from the sketches that they've shown. But if you're not following YMSF, you can totally do that on Twitter. They post a ton of stuff on Instagram, etc.
I would definitely keep an eye on them. And they did the Jafantis. They've been working on Jafantis too.
That's true.
Figure for DFS.
Do you want to cover any of the other soft vinyl offerings that were available at the show, Christine, or are we going to move on to
Yeah, we'll move on.
All right.
We're getting along a long time here. And so, John, you've actually been to Wonderfest. I think you're the only one out of all of us that have been.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I can't wait to get to another one. Kyle, I have a slideshow you could help me with.
This is the PDF, right?
The PDF.
All right, here we go.
So in 2016, that was a great year for me personally, because going to Wonderfest was a big part of it. I had a trip for work to Jakarta, and the week before, Shin Godzilla was going to be released, and 5 days before that, Wonderfest 2016 was happening. That should say winter. Summer, not winter. I apologize for that. And yeah, it was it'd be unbelievable to go. For me, Wonderfest was always a Twitter event. But seeing the venue and seeing all the releases, like, wow, it would be wonderful to be there. So it was the opportunity to go. So let me just share with you for a few minutes what it was like. So it was Sunday, July 24th, right in the middle of the summer, and it was hot. And what was interesting, I almost didn't make it there, except for my friend who's pictured there. I had a flight. Typically, I fly through Chicago to Japan, but my flight got delayed by 24 hours, and I had to fly through Heathrow Airport, through London, the opposite direction to Tokyo. And by the time I finished my whole trip, I went around the world. It was insane, because I came back the normal way, back through Chicago. So what happened, I got there the next morning, and Wonderfest starts about 10 a.m., but I arrived a little after 7, and I was completely exhausted because I had spent 12 hours sitting in the airport waiting for my flight from Philadelphia to Heathrow. So I had my bags, and I was supposed to meet Jamie, I believe, the day before, but had to cancel all of that. And so I was so exhausted, I had my bags, and I was like, oh, well, should I really try to, I want to go to Wonderfest, but I was exhausted. And if it wasn't for my friend, Coffee showed that slide, that second slide, I wouldn't have made it. And she said she knew how to get there, and we made it just in time. But I got there afternoon, and the facility is huge. It's the Makuhari, I guess it says Mise International Expo. And as you can see there, there's 8 halls that Wonderfest takes place inside of. And you arrive on train or on bus, and you'll see there's 2 towers there. You'll see them behind our heads in the photo on the bottom right. And you walk a little ways to get inside. If you go to the next slide, you will see this is a sign you'll be greeted by with the art for that particular Wonderfest. And as you walk, you'll go into the entrance. You'll see in the lower right corner. And your ticket is about 2,500 yen, about $25. Next slide. And I don't know how this works out, but you will get a book, your guide, which I think almost functionally works as your ticket, and it's quite thick. It's pretty dense. When I went, I think originally when it first started, there were barely 100 vendors. But in 2016, it was over 1,800 vendors.
Oh.
Yeah. And as you can see, wow. So if you have the directory ahead of time, you can figure out where the booths you want to see. And as you can see here out of the book, there's where X Plus was located and one of their ads below, shown in Rick. The next slide. And then now, as you get closer to going inside, that's when you run into the cosplay. And I remember this Violante Rose in particular.
Oh my God.
I didn't take this photo, but I distinctly remember this. This was great. Next slide. Thank you. And this is what you see just in one of the halls. This is Hall 5. I mean, and I would imagine it's even more crowded now. And I came in the afternoon, after 12, and I avoided the crazy line. But I didn't think the X Plus exclusive was going to be still available. So I made a beeline there. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see X Plus, they were in Exhibition Hall 2. And not far, right through the next exit, was Kyoto. So I didn't get to see much of the other halls. It was too many people, and I was running out of time. But I made a beeline over there. Next slide will be some photos of the booth and what was there. And I had gone hoping to meet Ji-san, but when I got there, he wasn't there. There were still some exclusive left, and I needed cash. In Japan, cash is king. And so I had to go find an ATM. Got my money, it was $300 US for the exclusive. And I hurried back, and by the time I got back, Ji-san was there. It was so awesome to meet him for the first time. We had only known each other through Facebook, and so that was a great honor, and I tried to express my gratitude. He may not have known me well, but it was an honor to meet him, and secondly, to get the box. And I think I was the last one to get the exclusive, which was pretty dope. But it was a big box, and I'll tell you about that in a moment, and just give you some tips if you plan to go to Japan and go to Wonderfest. Next slide. This is just photos of the exclusive. It was the Son of Godzilla set with the 3 there. This is the photo I took when I got home. Kumonga and Minya and Godzilla, of course. And the next slide. And so after I got all that big old box, got it in the bag, I hurried right over to the Kyoto booth, which is a series of booths, I believe. And have a little red line there to show you that's coming almost directly from the X Plus booth area. It's like going into the next hall. And wow, I was blown away. I mean, Shin Godzilla was on its way. It was 5 days away. And to walk into that entrance and see the full spread of Shin Godzilla maquettes, big statue, the big display and screens with the trailers running, I was just in heaven. The next slide, you'll see there's a photo of me with the Shin Godzilla statue. And I'm on the side. I'm away from where there will be a really great interview. And that's the next slide. But I don't, 2 slides from here. This slide shows you the actual booth that I walked to. And on the side, there were other Shin Godzilla merchandise. There was also a preview of the art of Shin Godzilla. And then the next slide, and I don't know if this will play, Kyle, probably not, because it's embedded in the PDF. I can't imagine if the video made it. This was an interview between Takaya-san, who sculpted the prototype figure of Shin Godzilla, and the Kyoto executive director, Semu-san, and that was great. So I got about 40 seconds of that. I'm sorry it's not available here, but it is on YouTube, and it's on my kaiju.com. And you can see someone doing a Mothra cosplay if you look down at the bottom. And that was just a beautiful array of Shin Godzilla art, because it was Godzilla versus Eva. And in the far right corner, you can see the Kyoto replica figure, Shin Godzilla. And seeing it in person, I knew I had to have it, but it would take me two years later to actually get it in hand. The next slide, just some close-up shots of what was in the booth. And you can see some of the art and another picture of the statue. And now the next slide. This was right around the corner. They had the huge, beautiful, detailed Shin Godzilla replica figure. There were a couple different versions. This one was $10,000. And yeah,
whoa,
it scales up.
Holy cow, man.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, amazing detail. I mean, like they precisely captured the original prototype. The next slide, you'll hear some more, is the replica figure that was a little more affordable than $800, $1,000 figure, and some shirts. And there's one of the figures, and Jay Davies got that for me a little bit later, I believe, that figure of Kuru, kind of a cross with Kuru and Eva. And then the next slide, I'm going to be quick here. They were releasing some of the, Kyoto was releasing some of their new soft vinyl model kits. And I think this is one here that I got a little bit later of Godzilla 84. David, it would be awesome if I could get you to assemble this for me.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
And next slide. The next few slides just show other things that were at Wonderfest 2016 summer. That photo didn't come through pretty good. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Next slide. Now here's the big part.
John, I thought that was totally on purpose. That was some like crazy cool Instagram filter you were using.
Yeah, right. No, it's probably just a corrupted JPEG from the PDF process. I'm sorry.
Is that image a suit, John? Is that like a?
That's Takao Yoshiba's Godzilla suit.
The one that we saw.
Yep.
Or one like the one we saw. Perfect.
The one we saw, the one we hugged, the one we danced with.
I love it.
Such a magical day.
I knew I recognized him.
If you plan to go to Japan, I would plan a trip around Wonderfest, whether it's in the winter or the summer. Well, and if you do go, and this was the thing, this was the first thing I did when I got there, and I knew I wanted to get the exclusive from X Plus. It was huge. And the one thing you have to do when going to Japan, I believe, if it's a short trip, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, you have to plan your luggage well. And what I loved about Wonderfest, they had boxes, which you could imagine that you could use to box up your things, and that was really convenient. But I had to lose and ditch my box. And thank you, Jamie, thank you, Jay Davis, for helping me ship some of my items home, because I still had to go to Jakarta. I had so much stuff, and to get that one big item from Wonderfest, that was a bit much for the whole trip to carry around from place to place. So then I just have a few tips on the next slide for Wonderfest that might be helpful, because I think there may be a collector. I think Mike Ross might be going to Japan and going to Wonderfest later this year. And so these might be helpful. Decide if you love the summer or the winter. It was brutally hot. Everyone says don't go to Japan in July, August, because it's so hot. And I agree.
Hey,
that
John.
was oppressive.
John, don't go to Japan in July or August, please.
I'll never do it again.
I thought Philadelphia was, summers can get really bad with the humidity, but I didn't realize how bad Tokyo in the summer was and is. So if you like the summer to winter, but winter's probably the best thing. Arrive at least a day or two before to rest and to plan, because I'll be honest with you, you might think if it's your first trip to Japan, and first time to Wonderfest, it's overwhelming. You'll be exhausted. There's so many people, and if you're going to get an exclusive, you have to get there almost the night before if you really want the special exclusives, because I was fortunate to still get the X Plus exclusive by the time I got there. And I think most of them this time around were gone within half an hour, or the first hour. So you really have to get there early and get in line. And the lines are unbelievable. And I avoided all that. I was just fortunate in 2016. Rest, water, food, eat before you go, and have cash ready. Figure out what booths you want to go to in advance and get there early, get your luggage right, and have cash. And that's really it. And maybe to conclude, it was an honor to go to Wonderfest, but I have to thank G-san of X Plus, Matsubara-san, all of the X Plus team, and especially Jeremy Souls for the next slide and the thing that happened this Mercy. Thank you, Mercy. That happened this this Wonderfest was the release of the X Plus Toho 30 centimeter series Yuji Sakai-san modeling collection Godzilla 1995 soft vinyl assembly kit, clear yellow version. That's the whole name.
It just rolls right off the tongue.
It does.
Easy for you to say.
And to have the privilege and the honor to do a box for X Plus is beyond my dreams, my wildest dreams. But then to do a box art for Sakai-san, Yuji Sakai-san, is like way beyond my fascination. So I'm thankful to God and to all of X Plus and Jeremy for making that happen. And so it was exciting to see it at Wonderfest. And the next slide, that was what I get the most joy from, is on social media. That to see those who are able to get the box to actually be sharing photos. And so it makes me happy that maybe they're satisfied with the box art. And so that was my 2016 Wonderfest experience, and now my Wonderfest 2020 experience.
Man, you've come full circle. That's full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, man. Seriously.
Oh, bless you.
Absolutely.
Bless you all.
We're all real proud of you for that, John.
Yes, we are.
That's huge.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone's support that have shown over the years. And I'm just glad we all grow together and get to support each other. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And with that, back to you, Kyle.
Yeah. So with that, it is time for us to begin the process of wrapping up this episode. And something that we are going to do every single episode is turn things over to our viewers, which means I'm turning things over to David so he could tell you about this month's Monster Showcase.
So this episode's Collector Showcase features photos that you guys sent of your very first Godzilla or Kaiju collectible that started you on your collecting journey. And I thought that was really, really fun way to sort of get to know you guys and see where you began your collecting journey. As you view these photos, you'll notice there's a lot of similarities, because back in the day, there wasn't that much out there. So there was bound to be some overlap for some of us old timers. So anyway, without further ado, let's check out what you guys sent us for this episode. Kaiju Ichiban.
Way to go, everybody. Way to go, viewers. Way to go, David. Thank you for organizing all of that stuff every month.
It's my pleasure. Lots of fun. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time to send us a photo of your Kaiju Ichiban. And as Kyle put in at the very end, next episode, we're looking for you to send us photos of that. It's going to be hashtag best monster portrait. Best monster portrait. So every toy, figure, model that you have, shoot a new awesome portrait, and we'll be so stoked to show it at the end of our next episode. And I think
we should say why that's the hashtag of the next episode, because we've already figured out what our next episode is going to be dedicated to.
Yes, we have. And should I do it, or do you want to do it?
I'll just say, like, we're going to dedicate next month's episode to looking at giant monsters through a photographic lens. And we're going to be showcasing our favorite, including some of the co-hosts here, Kaiju photographers.
Yes, Kaiju photography. And it's very exciting. And the interesting story behind this is they did a little meeting of the co-hosts a few days ago, and I couldn't do it. I wasn't able to join, and they figured out what the next episode was going to be, and they didn't tell me until later on. So I was very excited to hear what it's going to be, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys send us. And being the admin on the Gods and Monsters photo group on Facebook, I have so many wonderful photos that you guys have submitted over the years. So I can't wait to get started curating some of your best work. And I know John Ruffin is second to none with his amazing, realistic diorama style photos and box art and all of that. So it's going to be just a real exciting episode for me especially.
Well, I'm super looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking to you, talking to John, and talking to some more people about the kaiju photography life. Earlier in the episode, I thought before we close everything out, it'd be good to check in with the chat one more time. I asked everybody what they were looking forward to or what they thought was coolest coming from Wonder Festival last weekend. And because the chat only goes back so far, I will just highlight a few right now. I will say Edwin was saying he can't wait for the G19 and also the 30 centimeter Godzilla 93. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have Andy Peters said something about the gigantic Bolton. I'm hoping that means he's going to get that. Over 9,000 loves the Mechagodzilla. Must be that gigantic Mechagodzilla. Uncrazymatic said the Bullmark die-cast Mechagodzilla sculpt. That's pretty cool. That's what the glove Mechagodzilla was. And anyway, I think essentially we're just gonna keep moving along here. And I gotta undo that one there. So we're gonna finish this episode up. I would like to once again thank all of my co-hosts for being here. Thanks, Dave, Leslie, Christine, and John for being part of this episode and every episode going forward. Don't forget, we're going to be doing a lot more in the coming months. Like David mentioned, we have some stuff coming up very soon with more collector chats. And hopefully we can get a couple more of these little mini-sodes, little gacha chats or whatever happening as well. I know some of you guys had some figures you wanted to talk about specifically. And unless we want to share anything else, I think this is probably the time for us to end this episode. And when I do that, I'm going to yell again and say, our planet may be doomed, our Earth devastated, the monsters are in revolt, and civilization is in chaos. We must unite and collect all monsters!